A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all-old-time radio.
Kroger Tender Ray Beef. No other beef so fresh can be so tender. Presents Hearts in Harmony, transcribed. Tell me something, ladies. Have you remembered to place Kroger quality beef at the very top of today's shopping list? Well, don't forget it, because Kroger quality beef is a perfect main dish for vigorous appetites these winter days. Yes, you'll very definitely want to treat your family to a delicious Kroger quality beef steak or roast. And what a grand treat it'll be. Kroger quality beef is tasty and tender and brimming with flavorful, rich juices. And you get all that wonderful goodness because Kroger quality beef is carefully selected from the very best beef available on the market today. Another thing, Kroger quality beef is priced for downright economy. It's a thrifty buy, a tasty buy. And you'll want to take advantage of it just as soon as you can. So don't delay. Visit your Kroger store and get Kroger quality beef. And remember, it's an exclusive Kroger feature. The only place you can buy Kroger quality beef is at your Kroger store. And don't forget this. Kroger quality beef is the very best beef available on the market today. Be sure to get some soon as you can. And now, Hearts in Harmony. It's morning in the Gibbs home, the morning after Penny Gibbs returned from New York with the strange Barry Smith, whom she found ill and penniless in a rooming house in the city. It's morning, and young Nora Williams is just starting breakfast when a voice says,
"Good morning."
Oh.
I'm sorry, Nora. I didn't mean to frighten you.
Well, that's all right, Mr. Smith. I just didn't see you there, that's all.
Well, I wasn't here a second ago. I just this minute got into the doorway. My, you look pretty this morning.
Thank you.
And you looked pretty last night.
Thank you.
In fact, you probably make a habit of looking pretty, don't you?
Mr. Smith, I look the way I look because that's the way I look, and there's nothing I can do about it.
And I wouldn't want you to change the way you look if you could.
Thank you.
You're angry, aren't you?
Not a bit. I'm just busy. I have to get breakfast ready.
Well, I'd help. I'd offer to help, only I know I'd be more hindrance than help. I never was much good around the kitchen.
Have you ever been around a kitchen?
Well, not much. The odors always bothered me. But this kitchen smells good. Or is it you?
It's bacon and eggs.
Bacon and eggs? Oh, is that what beautiful young girls are wearing this year?
That's what this young girl is cooking.
Oh.
I suppose you'll care as little for bacon and eggs this morning as you did for meatloaf last night.
Oh, about last night. I'm sorry.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I spoke out of turn. I didn't mean to be rude about you or about the food. And I think you were both wonderful.
I'm sure you did.
Believe me, Nora, I didn't understand. You see, I'd never been in a house before where the servants ate with the family.
Believe me, it doesn't matter, Mr. Smith.
Oh, but it does. It matters a lot. Maybe I should make amends by calling you Miss Williams. See, Miss Gibbs set me straight about you last night. I know you're not a servant here, but
Mr. Smith, if you don't care to be friendly with me as a servant in this house, I don't care to have you friendly with me under any circumstances.
Wow. That's telling me, isn't it?
Well, I'm very sorry, but that's exactly how I feel about it.
Look, I don't blame you. I'm a heel and a snob, and I know it, and anything you say is justified.
Mr. Smith,
Well, go ahead. Say it.
No, it's all right, Mr. Smith. Let's forget it.
Okay, but I gave you your chance. And I warn you, I may not be so full of remorse again for a long time. Honestly, Miss Williams, I'm sincerely sorry about last night.
Please forget it.
You can forget it. I wish you would, but I won't forget it until I've made it up to you some way. And in the meantime, though, may we be friends?
Sure we can.
Will you shake on it?
Shake on it.
All right. Say, that's a cute little giggle you have there. Oh. Anybody ever tell you so?
Uh-huh.
Wow. Anybody special?
Oh, Cricket's Izzy special.
Oh, big man, huh?
Oh, he's just super.
Sounds like the real thing. What's he like? Anything like me?
Mm-mm. Just the opposite of you.
Whoa. Hit again.
Oh, Cricket's Mr. Smith. I didn't mean it that way, honestly.
Sure. I know you didn't. You just mean he's a regular fella and I'm not.
Well, I don't know enough about you to know if you're a regular fella or not.
Well, I'll tell you from first-hand knowledge, I'm not.
What makes you think you're not?
I know myself pretty well.
Do you, honestly?
Mm-hmm.
Freddie says it's impossible for a person to really know himself.
Well, then, let's say I know a little about myself. I know where I'm wrong.
Oh, well, that should be wonderful. If you know where you're wrong, you know what to do about it.
Yes, but you have to want to do something about yourself first, Nora. I may call you Nora again, may I?
Oh, Crickets, yes.
Good.
Well, what do you mean you have to want to do something about yourself? Oh,
well,
the eggs are ready, Mr. Smith. Will you have these?
Oh, no. You go ahead, Nora. I'll tell you what. I'll have the second batch.
No, now you have these, and I'll make some more for myself.
All right.
Bacon?
Is it crisp? I'm sorry. I'll take it any way you serve it.
Yes, it's crisp. We like it that way, too. Now, come on, you sit right here.
Right here?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Coffee?
You bet.
I turn the eggs over because that's the way I like them. Do you like them turned over?
Oh, always.
I'll bet you never had them turned over before.
Well, to tell you the truth, I haven't. But if you like them this way, I'm sure that I'll like them this way, too.
The salt and pepper's on the table just in front of you.
Okay, thanks.
And now coffee?
Yeah.
A full cup of coffee or just half?
About 3/4. I like it heavy on the cream.
Okay. Oh, cream's in the pitcher right there.
Thank you.
Mr. Smith. About that question.
Oh, yes. Well, you see, what I mean is, I know what's wrong with me, but I don't want to do anything about it.
Why not?
Well, because I've gotten along the way I am. And, say, eggs turned over are okay, Nora. I think I'll have them this way from now on.
Oh, please, Mr. Smith, you don't have to like them just to please me.
Think I'm just trying to make up for last night, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm sincere. Believe me, I'm sincere.
Well, if you are, you don't have to say it.
You can see right through a guy. Say, how old are you, anyhow?
17, and don't call me a child.
That's the last thing in the world I'd call you. Honestly, these eggs are great. Any time you want to come to my house to cook, you just say the word.
Where is your house, Mr. Smith?
In town.
Oh. Well, then, why did you spend the night here?
I wanted to. Well, to tell you the truth, I just didn't want to go to my house last night, and you see, Miss Gibbs was kind enough to ask me to spend the night here.
Oh, I see.
Do you?
No.
Didn't think you did.
I guess it isn't right to ask, but... Well, why didn't you want to go to your own house last night?
Well, that's a long story, Nora.
Still early in the morning.
I'm sorry, kid, but this isn't the kind of story to tell at this time of day.
Is it a bad story?
Well, it depends.
Depends on what?
Who you tell it to. Now, you might think it's a bad story. Some other person might think it's an interesting story, and still others I've known in my time, might think it's a good story.
I don't understand.
Good, I don't want you to.
You don't want me to know anything about you, do you?
Not yet. You don't like me as it is. I'll be poison to you when you find out all about me.
Why?
Oh, I just will. That's why.
Well, you live here in Rostham? I mean, you've lived here before?
Yes, a long time ago.
Well, where'd you live?
Same place I live now.
Well, where's that?
Ah, that'd be telling. Yes. It would be telling more than just where I live.
Why would it?
Well, because it'd tell you who I am, too.
Oh, I know who you are. You're Barry Smith.
You keep on thinking I'm Barry Smith for a few days. It'll be better for all of us. I'll be back to see you next week and tell you who I really am.
Morning, Mr. Smith.
Oh, morning, Miss Gibbs.
Good morning, Miss Gibbs.
Good morning, Nora. I see you two have made up.
Oh, sure, we're friends.
I want to apologize to you, too, for the way I acted last night.
Look, if everything's all right with Nora, everything's all right with me.
It was all just a misunderstanding, Miss Gibbs.
She's a forgiving young lady, Miss Gibbs, or... Oh, there's poison in these eggs.
Now, look, you and I have an appointment to keep this morning, Mr. Smith. Now, I've made all the arrangements. We're to be there by 10. I hope that's all right with you.
Come in.
Good morning, Mrs. Carlton.
Good morning, Tenny.
I'm a few minutes late, and I'm sorry, but I couldn't help it.
That's quite all right, quite all right. Sit down.
Well, wouldn't you like me...
Sit down, dear, sit down, please.
All right.
Tell me, where did you find him?
In a rooming house on the east side.
Well, I mean, how did you find him?
Not sick, but not well. He was more frightened than anything.
With reason, with good reason.
I think so.
And when you told him?
When I told him, he didn't believe me at first, Mrs. Carlton. I couldn't convince him when I was in his room, even after I showed him the IOU I bought from Mr. King.
Mr. King was arrested just after that, wasn't he?
Yeah. And, I'd better tell you all about that, too.
You don't have to, my dear. Your friend Freddie Lang came to see me yesterday and told me all about it. I should have been angry at the way your friends tried to interfere in your work for me, but I understand their motives. They thought you were in danger, and you were. But everything's worked out all right, hasn't it?
Yes, it has, I think.
What do you mean, you think?
Well, I think I'd better tell you before you find out from someone else. He spent last night at my house.
He was in Mossville yesterday?
Yesterday afternoon, but he didn't want to come right here. He wanted to go to a hotel to rest, to think about it.
Oh, yes, of course. I suppose that's very natural.
Well, anyway, I thought he'd be more comfortable in my house. I had to tell him a few things before he came here.
It was right for him not to come here last night. But he's here now?
He's waiting in the hall.
Have him come in. Or doesn't he want to?
Oh, yes, I think he does.
Well, go to the door and ask him if he'll come in. If for only just a moment.
Mrs. Carlton, I'm sure he'll come in to stay with you.
If for only a moment. Just a moment.
Will you come in now?
She'll see me?
Of course you will.
All right, Miss Gibbs. I guess you can be trusted.
Go on in. I'll be out here in the hall if either of you want me.
Hello.
Hello.
Well, looks as if I'm home again, I guess. I hope you're glad to see me, Mother.
Oh, Barry, my son. My darling son.
So the mysterious Barry Smith is actually Barry Carlton, the wealthy Mrs. Carlton's son. What kind of trouble has he been into, and how will his appearance in Rossville affect the life of Penny Gibbs? Be sure to listen to the next dramatic episode of Hearts in Harmony. Say, Mother, don't wrinkle your forehead like that. Why, it's easy to choose a main dinner dish for tonight everyone will enjoy. Serve beef, Kroger quality beef, and you'll find your evening meal has plenty of eye appeal and taste appeal for that family of yours. It's delicious, it's tender, it's juicy, and it's bound to be a wonderful treat for you and your family. Watch how delighted your folks are when they see what's on the menu, for beef is almost everybody's favorite meat. Yes, lady, you can forget your what to have for dinner blues and serve your family's favorite cut of Kroger quality beef. Make plans right now to treat your family to a roast or steak dinner. Get Kroger quality beef, the beef you can buy with confidence, because it's the very best beef currently available. Visit your neighborhood Kroger store for the finest beef values in town. Remember, Kroger quality beef, the very best beef that you can get right now, is obtainable only at your neighborhood Kroger store. And not only is Kroger quality beef a tasty buy, it's also a thrifty buy. Yes, Kroger quality beef is priced to save you money. So don't delay. Visit your Kroger store and get Kroger quality beef. Be with us again Monday, same time, same station, for the thrilling transcribed chapter of Hearts in Harmony.
The story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all king-size cigarettes, brings you Dragnet on both radio and television.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. A woman is found dying in a vacant lot. Her identity unknown. Your job? Investigate. Compare Fatima with any other king-size cigarette.
Yes, compare Fatima with any other king-size cigarette.
1. Fatima's length filters the smoke 85 millimeters for your protection.
2. Fatima's length cools the smoke for your protection.
3. Fatima's length gives you those extra puffs, 21% longer than standard cigarette size.
Fatima gives you more for your money.
And in king-size Fatima, you get an extra mild and soothing smoke, plus the added protection of Fatima quality. Buy Fatima in the bright, sunny yellow pack.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Thursday, October 16th. It was cloudy in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of homicide detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Lorman. My name's Friday. It was 9:48 p.m. when I got to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital, Dr. Hall's office.
Joe, how are you?
Hi, Doc. How about that case you got in from 7th and Union? How's she doing?
She died about 5 minutes ago.
Fill me in. What do you got on it?
You talked to the radio car officers, ones that handled the call?
Frank's talking to him now out in the lobby. Thought I'd check in with you while he was handling that end.
Not an awful lot to tell you, Joe. Ambulance G2 brought her in from the location. She was alive when they brought her in. Did everything I could for her. Didn't help much. Too far gone.
Yeah, what's it look like?
Chloroform poisoning. Pretty obvious. Probably self-administered. Looks like that anyway. She didn't last long.
It's a little unusual, huh? Chloroform?
Yeah. Under the circumstances, it sure is.
Anything else?
How do you mean?
Well, any probable causes? Any marks on her?
No, a little scratch on her wrist. That's about all.
Where you got her now? Can we look at her?
Yeah, bag number 3. Come on.
All right. Ed Barrett called us, asked us for help. It's a rough night, huh?
Yeah. Traffic went crazy tonight. Dozen cases in the last 2 hours. Couple of homicides, too. Busy night.
You got the weekend coming up, huh?
Yeah, not looking forward to it. Here we go. Over here.
That chloroform sure hangs on, doesn't it? Sure strong.
Notice the burns around her mouth and nose. Discoloration.
Well, who is she? Any idea?
We got her down as Jane Doe. You're going to have to take it from there. I understand the radio car officers couldn't identify her.
Apparently pretty well off, huh? Nice clothes. Seems to be well kept.
I'd say so. Expensive jewelry there. Rings, wristwatch.
A little strange for a probable suicide, isn't it? Looks like she took good care of herself. Hair all done up, fingernails. About how old, would you say?
Not more than 35. Just about that. Here's the chart on her. Time arrival, 9:38 p.m. from southwest corner of 7th and Union, vacant lot. Reason for call, possible drunk woman down. Jane Doe, number 4. Female Caucasian, approximate age 35. Weight 128 1/4. Height 5'4". Brown hair, hazel eyes. Listed as Nordic descent. Probable suicide. That's it.
Okay, Doc, thanks. I better look up Frank, see what he's got, huh?
Okay. Haven't notified the coroner yet. You fellas want to take care of that?
Yeah, sure, we'll call him. About all we can do unless we find some relatives to notify, huh?
Joe?
Yeah, Frank.
Oh, hi, Doc. How are you?
Frank, looks like you're losing weight.
Yeah, 4 pounds in 2 weeks. Not too bad for me, anyway. What'd you get, Joe?
Chloroform poisoning. Probable suicide. Find out who she is?
I got to get back to my office. If there's anything I can help you with, come on back.
You're right, Doc. Thanks very much.
Okay.
How about it? Any identification?
No, I talked to the fellas that took the call. Unit 182 was routine call. 390W down. They couldn't find out who put the call in. Said they found her in a vacant lot lying over against the side of the building.
Yeah.
They said she looked like she'd been drinking. Then they got a whiff of the chloroform. And they found this empty container by her side. Here.
Yeah. It ties in.
They were careful handling it.
Anything else?
Well, while they're waiting for the ambulance, they talked to some of the people in the neighborhood. They couldn't tell them anything about the woman. The building they found her next to is a vacant store.
No identification on her at all?
No, nothing. No purse or wallet. I checked missing persons. No one of her description reported. Fellows who handled the call said they went over her clothing. No marks of identification.
Mm-hmm. Better notify latent prints, huh? Maybe they can identify her.
Already called him, Joe. Looks like probable suicide. Sure, a new twist, though. Chloroform route.
Hasn't figured out.
What do you think?
I don't know. No violence committed on the body. No indication of robbery. She had a wristwatch on. Rings, too.
Wouldn't figure anyway. Chloroform angle.
Yeah. No other physical evidence out there, huh? I mean, besides the chloroform container?
Nothing else besides a handkerchief. Yeah, a plain white handkerchief, chloroform on it. They found it next to the body. It's the only thing that doesn't fit 100%.
What do you mean?
It's a man's handkerchief.
10:25 p.m. Frank and I took the dead woman's clothing, the handkerchief, and the almost empty container of chloroform and drove back downtown to the office. We dropped off the clothing and the handkerchief at the crime lab to be processed for possible identifying marks. The chloroform container was taken to latent fingerprints for examination. The following morning, the body of the unidentified woman was taken to the county morgue for posting. As soon as the dead woman's prints were made available to us, they were checked through our record bureau and also through the record bureau at the sheriff's office. In addition, they also made a run on her description. They were unable to identify her. We checked with the crime lab, but they couldn't help us either. A detailed examination of the dead woman's clothing failed to yield any leads as to her identity. Latent prints didn't have any better luck with the chloroform container. The only prints they found on it were those of the dead woman. Meantime, the morning papers had picked up the story and given it front-page billing. 11:16 a.m.
How's that again, Doc? Yeah, I see. Mm-hmm. A little unusual, wouldn't you say? Yeah. Okay, we'll pick it up after lunch. Right, goodbye.
Anything?
Yeah, Doc Cephalo at the morgue just finished posting the body.
What'd he say?
The chloroform killed her. They even found traces of it in the stomach.
Huh?
That's right.
It's a weird one, isn't it?
Doesn't leave much doubt. Suicide.
No indication of anything else, is there? I got it. Homicide, Friday talking. Yes, sir. Yeah? Mitchell? Mm-hmm. That's so. Yeah, sure. Be glad to. Yeah, we'll be here. You want to give us your address? Hello. Oh, here we go.
What was it, Joe?
Somebody by the name of James Mitchell. He's on his way down to see us. Wants to talk to us about the dead woman.
Yeah?
He says he killed her. 11:50 a.m. While Frank and I waited around for Mitchell to show up, we checked his name through R&I, but we were unable to find anything on him. A few minutes before 1 p.m., a short, blonde-haired man in a blue serge suit entered the squad room and asked for us. He introduced himself as James Mitchell. Frank and I took him to the interrogation room where we started to question him. He told us he was a steel worker by trade, currently unemployed. He said he was originally from Alabama, that he'd been in California for approximately 2 years. After that, he lapsed into silence. We tried to question him about the dead woman, but we made little headway. The only admission we could get from him was that he killed the woman. Outside of that, he refused to say anything.
Now, how about it, Mitchell? What's the trouble? You called us, volunteered a confession. You said you killed the woman. You wanted to tell us a story. Now, why don't you answer our questions?
Jim, how about it? Aren't you feeling well? Want us to call a doctor? Jim?
You're not giving us much of an out, mister. You volunteered to make yourself a suspect in this thing. You say you killed a woman. Now, why don't you answer the questions?
We can't keep this up forever. You ought to know that. You haven't answered a question almost an hour now. Look, if you're not going to talk, Jim, there's only one thing we can do. We're going to have to book you.
Mitchell? Is that what you want?
Go ahead and book me. I killed her. Go on, book me.
Well, why can't you tell us the story? Now, you admit you killed a woman. Why won't you tell us about it?
Why should I? I killed her. That's all you have to know.
You said on the phone you'd tell us the whole story, didn't you? Now, what made you change your mind?
You got the story. I killed her. All there is to it.
You know better than that, Mitchell. You know the woman very well?
No, not very well.
What was her name?
Mary.
Mary what?
Mary, that's all. I met her in a bar. I didn't know her well. I killed her. That's all you got to know. I had to.
Why'd you have to, Jim?
I don't have to tell you. I had a reason. Good reason.
Robbery?
I don't have to say.
You have a fight with her? Lover's quarrel?
Maybe. What's the difference?
Well, this bar where you met Mary, that in downtown L.A., was it?
Yeah, it's downtown. She had it coming. I'm glad I did it.
Not worth much, huh?
She was when I met her.
Well, what happened? She go off the deep end?
Guess so. What's the difference? She's dead.
Well, why'd you turn yourself in, Jim? Figure you couldn't beat it?
Maybe.
How do you mean?
I could have stayed out of your way if I wanted to. For a while, anyway. I didn't want to.
Why not, Jim?
Good reason. I'm glad I killed her.
She had it coming. Now go ahead and do what you want. I know what the rap is. I'll pay for it.
Well, if you're willing to take the rap, Jim, why not tell us the whole story, huh?
You got the story. I killed her. That's all you need.
Don't you want to brief us in on the details? How it happened, how it came about? Might be extenuating circumstances. You can't tell.
Well, how you mean?
Different things that might throw a new slant on the case. Court's not going to hand down a decision till they get the whole story.
You mean about Mary? I'll never tell them about her. Lousy things she did to me. Never tell anybody about it.
Must have been pretty bad, huh? I mean, the way you took it out on her.
She was rotten. All the way through. I had to kill her.
Well, what happened with the chloroform, Jim? Didn't it work fast enough for you?
Chloroform?
Yeah, huh? Didn't it react on her fast enough for you?
No, it didn't. I hated her.
Yeah, I guess you did. You must have had quite a scrap with her. Struggled quite a bit, didn't you?
Yeah, she fought me all the way. I got her, though. I hated her. Out of my mind, I hated her so much.
Well, we've been trying to figure it out, Jim. What'd you hit her with? I mean, around the head and on the neck. What'd you use? Piece of metal?
Yeah, angle iron.
Uh-huh.
Kind of lost my head. I kept beating her. She tried to scream, but I had my hand over her mouth, and then she fell down. She didn't make a sound after that.
I see. Well, how come you took her jewelry? I mean, if you just wanted to kill her, how is it you took all her valuables, too? Jim?
How about it, Mitchell?
Well, I don't know. Spur of the moment, I guess. I took them, but I didn't keep them. I threw them away. I don't remember well. I'm glad it's over.
All right, Jim. Now, what's this all about? You didn't kill that woman. You know that as well as we do.
Well, what are you talking about? Of course I killed her. She's dead, ain't she? How many times do I have to admit it?
The woman had one mark in her body, Mitchell, a small scratch on the wrist.
Huh?
Not a single wound on the head, none on the neck either.
Well, I killed her. That's all you got to know, not saying anything else.
All the woman's valuables weren't taken either, Jim. She was found with a couple of rings on her hands, an expensive watch, a bracelet, too. Now, come on, Jim. What's the angle here?
You can't prove I didn't do it. You can't prove that.
I think we can.
Now, why can't you just take my word for it? It's the queerest setup I ever saw. I'm willing to admit I killed her, and you won't believe me. What kind of cops are you, anyway?
What'd you spend last night, Jim? Where were you?
I don't know. I don't remember.
You remember. Now, how about it?
It's the queerest setup I ever saw. Whole town. You wouldn't believe it.
Yeah?
Look, I come here from Alabama. I told you that. I've been here for 22 months. A long time. It's almost 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Queerest town I ever saw. Thousands of people all over. Millions of them. People all around you, all over the place, everywhere you go. I didn't know any of them. Not a one. They didn't know me. 22 months. Couldn't get to know nobody. I still don't. They don't know me either.
Yeah.
Tried to get acquainted. Just seemed I never could. Nobody knew me. Nobody cared. They didn't even know who I was. Well, what kind of town is that? 22 months right here. They don't even know who I am. Nobody knows. Living alone, you just get sick of it. Got sick and tired of it.
That's what brought all this on, huh?
Well, I mean, at least they'll notice me. They'll know I'm here. I killed a woman. They'll know who I am now.
You ever spent any time in a hospital, Mitchell? Institution?
Now, what'd you have to ask that for? Just because I want to know people, want to notice me? That doesn't make me crazy. Can't be alone all the time. You got to have somebody notice you.
Were you ever in an institution, Jim?
Just once, only a couple of months. It wasn't anything. Look, can't you just forget what I said? I mean, I told you I killed a woman. The papers are going to be out pretty soon, pictures and things, probably a big write-up.
Yeah.
Well, can't we let it go at that? I killed her. Just forget the rest?
No, I'm afraid not.
Why not? We'll just make out it's that way. People get to know me anyway. At least they'll know I'm around. I won't be alone.
No use worrying, Jim.
Huh?
You won't be alone anymore. 1:38 p.m. We continued to question the self-accused suspect, James Mitchell, and he finally told us that he'd been confined for a period of 18 months in a state mental hospital in Alabama. That had been more than 3 years before. The questioning also left no doubt in our mind that Mitchell had nothing at all to do with the death of the unidentified woman. A sister of Mitchell's living in Alabama was contacted, and she agreed to come out west as soon as possible to look after her brother. In the meantime, he was delivered to the care of psychiatrists at the county hospital. The incident of a man confessing guilt of a crime of which he's wholly innocent certainly wasn't anything new. Like police officers all over the country, all over the world, we've come to accept it as almost a routine part of a criminal investigation. Most of the time, the would-be criminal's suffering with mental trouble. Sometimes it's a thirst for notoriety. In any event, they all have to be checked, every one of them. It means time, trouble, and money. Hours of cautious interrogation. More hours of checking stories that have basis only in the imagination of a sick mind. They slow the investigation, they waste hundreds of man-hours, but like anonymous leads or would-be witnesses, they can't be ignored. It's part of the job. Saturday, October 18th, the newspapers continue to cooperate by giving us front-page space to the story of the unidentified woman.
Joe?
Yeah, how'd you do?
Nothing. Identification wasn't even close. How about Brian and Lopez? What'd they do on that call of theirs?
Well, they're over at the morgue now with the boy, 16-year-old. Kid was pretty wrought up when he came in.
Well, we sure had a parade of them. All last night, all this morning.
Well, it doesn't hurt our chances any. The more, the better.
I suppose so. Not going to make much headway if we can't identify her. Any answers on that all points we got out on it?
Yeah, 4 of them. They all been checked. Nothing.
Chewing gum, Joe? New kind, tangerine flavor.
No thanks.
How about that check of the hospitals around town? Anything show up there yet?
No, not so far. The scar on the woman's leg was from an operation, all right. Doc figures it might not have been done in a hospital, though. It was a minor operation. Could have been done in a doctor's office, maybe.
That'd stop it, sure. Tough enough checking hospitals for a record of the operation. Next to impossible to check every doctor in town for it.
Well, even then we could miss. Don't know where the woman's from. She could have had the operation done anywhere. I'll get it. Homicide. Friday talking. Yeah, Tom. I know. You did? That's so. Yeah, okay. Fine. You bet. Thanks, Tom. It was Brian. He and Lopi are driving that boy over to Georgia Street, the 16-year-old.
What happened?
Well, they took the boy to the morgue. They showed him the body. Asked him if he recognized it.
What'd she say?
It's his mother. 2:05 p.m. Frank and I left the office and drove over to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital. The 16-year-old boy who had identified the dead woman as his mother was being treated for shock and hysteria. The youngster told Brian and Lopez that his name was Arnold Hopkins and that he'd been living with his mother at a Norwood Street address. After he was given a sedative and recovered himself a bit, the boy was driven to the home of his aunt and uncle out near Barnesdale Park. That night, Frank and I called on the boy and found him sufficiently recovered to answer a few questions. He confirmed his identity of the body he'd viewed that afternoon as that of his mother, Mrs. Jeanette Hopkins. He said he was an only child and that his father was dead. He told us his mother had been working for the past 6 years as coast representative for an Eastern cosmetics firm. We asked him what had happened the night his mother disappeared.
The phone just rang about, when we were finishing dinner. About 8 o'clock, maybe quarter after. Well, when Ma hung up, she'd said something important come up. She had to go out to see somebody. She said she had to see him right away. She got her coat and left. It's the last time I saw her.
Well, who was she going to see, Arnold? Did she tell you?
No, she didn't. I heard her talking on the phone, though. Heard her say Leo. She said it a couple of times. Leo.
Where was she going to meet this person, Arnold? Did you happen to overhear that?
No, I didn't. I think she said, okay, I'll meet you there, Leo, and she hung up. Then she got her coat, kissed me goodbye, and she went out.
Did she leave on foot or was she driving, you remember?
Oh, on foot. My mother didn't drive.
Who's Leo,
So?
Your mother ever talk about him?
Heard her talking to him on the phone a couple of times. That's about all.
Well, do you know where he lives? What he looks like? Can you tell us anything about him at all?
No, sir, nothing. I wouldn't know him if I saw him.
You are listening to Dragnet, authentic stories of your police force in action.
The only way you can prove to yourself that Fatima is the best of all king-size cigarettes is to compare them with the brand you've been smoking.
Yes, compare Fatima with any other king-size cigarette.
1. Fatima's length filters the smoke 85 millimeters for your protection.
2. Fatima's length cools the smoke for your protection.
3. Fatima's length gives you those extra puffs, 21% longer than standard cigarette size.
Your money back plus postage. If you're not convinced, Fatima is better than your present king-size cigarette.
Just return the pack and the unsmoked Fatimas by August 1st, 1952. Fatima, Box 37, New York 1.
More and more of your friends are switching to king-size Fatimas every day.
Compare them yourself tomorrow. Buy Fatima in the bright, sunny yellow pack and enjoy the added protection of Fatima quality.
Saturday, October 18th, 8:30 p.m. Frank Smith and I continued interviewing the dead woman's son, 16-year-old Arnold Hopkins. The big lead pointed in the direction of the man known as Leo, who telephoned Mrs. Hopkins Thursday night, little more than an hour before she died, and made an appointment to meet her. It was a good lead, but it didn't go too far. All the boy could tell us was that the man's name was Leo. He'd heard his mother address a man by that name on the telephone several times, but that was the extent of it. He didn't know Leo's last name. He didn't know where he lived. He had no idea where his mother was to meet the man the night she died. We talked to the boy's aunt and uncle, the dead woman's brother and sister-in-law, but they couldn't help us either. Frank Smith and I obtained a list of all of Mrs. Hopkins' friends and business associates known to the son and the aunt and the uncle. We spent the rest of the weekend checking with them. Most of them gave us pretty much the same story. Mrs. Hopkins was well-liked and well-respected, both in her business and private life. She was devoted to her teenage son. She didn't drink, and socially her behavior was beyond question. She attended church regularly. She was active in several women's clubs engaged in social and religious work. None of the people we talked to could think of any reason that she would want to end her own life. All of them denied any knowledge of the man known as Leo. Monday afternoon, October 20th, Frank and I had another meeting with the victim's son, Arnold Hopkins. We had him check over the personal effects found on the body.
Yes, sir, that's hers. The other ring, too.
How about this bracelet, sir?
Yes, sir. She always wore that. My dad gave her to her, I think. When he was alive, I mean. She always wore it.
Mm-hmm. Now, the wristwatch, 2 rings, the bracelet, and this lapel pin here. This about it, sir?
Yes, sir, I guess so. You have her necklace, too.
How's that?
My mother's necklace. She was wearing it that night. She had it on when she left the house. Didn't you find it?
What kind of necklace is it, son? What's it look like?
Oh, it's made like the bracelet is. That one there.
Mm-hmm.
See, the two of them go together to set.
Your mother wear expensive jewelry like that every day, did she?
No, sir. She wore the bracelet quite a bit, not the necklace, though. She only wore that when she was dressed up. I thought about it yesterday. I meant to tell you about it.
What's that, son?
Well, right after she got the phone call that night, when she told me she had to go out.
Yeah?
Well, she went back and got her coat, and then she came in the living room and kissed me goodbye. She had the necklace in her hand.
You sure she took it with her?
Oh, yes, sir, I'm positive. After she kissed me goodbye, she went over to the mirror, and I saw her put the necklace on. She was wearing it when she left. I didn't think much about it till later on. Most of the time, she only wears it when she dresses up. She wasn't very dressed up that night.
Joe? Yeah. Can you describe the necklace for us, son? Exactly what it looks like?
Yes, sir, I think I can.
When you saw your mother with a necklace on, did you think to ask her about it?
Yeah, I did. She said she was wearing it because she wanted to look pretty. She was going to meet a good friend.
Mm-hmm. And she didn't say where?
No, sir. I guess she was wrong, huh? About her necklace, I mean.
No, son. About her friend. Monday, 3:18 p.m. We got a description of the necklace from the Hopkins boy, confirmed it with his aunt and uncle, and then we double-checked it at the jeweler's, where it had been purchased. After that, we contacted the pawn shop detail and burglary division. The necklace and its description was put on the stolen property list, and copies were sent to second-hand jewelry stores and pawn shops throughout the area. We also got out a broadcast and an APB on it. 4:15 the following afternoon, we got a reply from the San Diego Police Department. A pawn shop owner down there had reported taking in the necklace the Friday before, which matched the description of the one we were looking for. The man who pawned the necklace listed his name in the pawn shop's buy book as Raymond Butler. San Diego officers had checked out the home address that he'd given. It was a vacant lot. The necklace was sent back to Los Angeles, where it was identified as Mrs. Hopkins. The description of the man who'd pawned the necklace was forwarded from San Diego together with a photostatic copy of the suspect's signature, and we got out an all-points bulletin on him. 2 days passed. Nothing. Along with Brian and Lopez, we continued checking all public places in the general area where the body of Mrs. Hopkins had been found. You got anything, Frank?
Talked to a man by the name of Wagner, Joe. He told me she used to do a lot of traveling, business trips, most of them to San Diego. Wagner says he heard she had a boyfriend down there, a tall, dark-haired fellow. That's all, no name.
I get it. Homicide Friday. What? Oh, yeah, Lopey. Mm-hmm. Where? Checks out, does it? Yeah, that's good. Fine. Okay, thanks, Lopey. Yeah, right away.
Anything, Joe?
Lopez, he and Brian just checked a bar out in the neighborhood where the body was found. They talked to the bartender in the place, showed him the description of the man who pawned the necklace. Bartender says he knows the man.
You sure?
Pretty sure. He told Brian and Lopey that the man's either a boxer or a wrestler, something like that anyway.
You know the man's name, where he lives?
Says his name's Taylor, no home address.
You know his first name?
Yeah, Leo. 1:25 p.m. After interviewing 4 other people who were in the bar the night of Mrs. Hopkins' death, Lopez and Brian checked back in at the office. They told us that at least one of the 4 persons they talked to, in addition to the bartender, was sure that the description of the suspect who pawned the necklace fitted a man known as Leo Taylor, who was in the bar the previous Thursday night. He was seen in the place between 8:30 and 9 p.m., and he was seen with a woman answering Mrs. Hopkins' general description. The bartender had no idea where the man lived, but he seemed fairly certain of the man's name, Leo Taylor, and his occupation, either wrestling or boxing. 5:05 p.m. We made a run on Taylor's name and description through R&I, and we got a make. We checked his handwriting, and that matched out also. He had 1 previous arrest for assault and disorderly conduct. His residence was a West 11th Street address. We checked it out, but he'd moved 6 months before. The landlady had no forwarding address on him, but she told us one of the places he used to frequent was a gym on South Olive down near Olympic. We ran it down.
All right, come on. I'm getting tired of putting it back. Come on.
I checked with the fellow in the office over there, Joe. Says the man we once taken a shower back there, locker room.
All right. In here?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Hey, excuse me. Your name Leo Taylor?
How's that?
I said, are you Leo Taylor?
Yeah, that's right. What is it?
Police officer. Would like to talk to you.
Oh, I'm taking a shower right now. You want to wait a while?
Well, keep, Taylor. We want to talk to you now.
All right.
All right, what's the rush? What's it all about?
I want to talk to you downtown.
What do you want me downtown for? A routine check. Like to ask you a few questions. About what?
Jeanette Hopkins.
That's so? What about her?
When's the last time you saw the woman, Taylor?
I don't know. A couple of months ago. At least that. Why? We can talk about it downtown. Well, let's talk now. It'll take me a little time to get dressed. What's the pitch?
You know as well as we do.
You want to throw me that shirt, Mac? Thanks. What do you mean I know as well as you do? Know what?
No rush, Leo. We can talk downtown.
I read about it in the papers. It's a terrible thing. I was going to look her up one of these days. It's too bad. You live in Los Angeles, Taylor? Yeah, why? Ever get down to San Diego? Once in a while, not too often. You don't think I had anything to do with it, do you?
How do you mean, Leo? With what?
I mean, Jeanette, she's dead. You don't think I had a hand in it, do you?
I tell you, I'm on a level with you, Leo. We've been on this thing a week. We've got you placed in San Diego. We've got you placed here. You say you haven't seen Mrs. Hopkins for 2 months. We can do a lot better than that. You were with her in San Diego 2 weeks ago. You were drinking with her in a bar out there last Thursday night. You were with her 20 minutes before she died. We got all we need, Leo.
Got my coat there, Graven?
Check the pockets, Frank.
Yeah. Gonna take a lot of proof. I guess you know that. Gonna take a lot of it.
We got it.
Better have. Let's see. Keys, wallet, comb. Yeah. Okay, let's go.
No, just a minute, Leo.
Yeah?
Pawn ticket here. You forgot it.
The story you have just heard was true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On January 28th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 89, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. Friends, there's not much I can add to what you've already heard about Fatima's. If you smoke them, I know you'll agree with me that no other king-size cigarette can match Fatima quality. Now, if you haven't tried them yet, prove it to yourself. Buy a pack and give them a try. I wish you would kind of check up on what we've been telling you. Compare Fatima's with any other king-size cigarette. You'll like Fatima's better flavor and aroma. It's extra mild and soothing smoke. And you'll find Fatima gives you more for your money. Yes, sir. In Fatima, the difference is quality. Buy a pack tomorrow. Fatima.
When confronted with the evidence and testimony against him, Leo Francis Taylor broke down and confessed to the murder of Mrs. Jeanette Hopkins. She'd been paying blackmail to Taylor in order to keep their affair secret, but a month before her death, she refused to pay him any more. Taylor threatened her again, and she agreed to give him the necklace as a final payoff. At their meeting, Taylor demanded cash. His victim threatened him with arrest, and he administered the chloroform. Taylor was tried and found guilty of first-degree murder and was sentenced to a life term in the state penitentiary. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Frazier. Heard tonight were Herb Ellis, Mick Perrin, Gil Stratton, Jack Crucian. Script by Jim Mosier. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
King-size Fatima, made by the same people who make popular Chesterfield cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles. Each Thursday night, it's Counter Spy on NBC.
That's what the sign out in front of my office says. Pat Novak For Hire. Oh, there are a lot of ways to put it, but it's easier if you let your slip show right from the beginning. Because down on the waterfront in San Francisco, you got to do a lot of things to make a living. Otherwise, it's like being a CPA in a charity ward. I rent boats and do anything else that'll keep a bum lawyer in beer and broadcloth. Works out all right. You make a few bucks if you don't forget there are only 2 questions you can ask anybody down here. When and how much. Even then, you got to watch out, unless you like your trouble without a chaser. I found that out Monday night. I closed shop and I walked down the street to Noonan's bar. Well, it really isn't a bar. It's just a couple of stools with a bottle opener and a jukebox full of Irish tenors, but it's good enough to give you a shove down the road. Must have been about 11. I was sitting at one end of the place by myself, sorting out mistakes and spending a $50 on the bar, so I don't know when she came in, but she came in. I remember that.
Does it always come up heads?
If you're lucky. Who are you?
If you're that lucky, you'd have dollar bills to do it with.
Look, I'm low on chatter. Why don't you go down the counter and talk to the racy set, huh?
I'd rather buy you a drink.
Noonan's a social climber. He's going to throw you out.
You buy me one, then.
And I'm broke to strangers. Now, that winds up the conversation. See you later.
We'll talk Thursday, then. I went to your office, but they said you were over here. I want to hire you, Mr. Novak.
If you got a name to go with the figure?
It won't fit in your file. I want you for 3 hours' work tomorrow afternoon. Can you do it?
If I said yes, it might be too tough.
There's a flower stand at the corner of Post and Kearney. I want you to go to that stand tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock. Pick up a geranium plant and deliver it to this address.
I'm too big for a Western Union boy.
Are you too big for $50?
No. Must be a pretty geranium at those prices.
Some people love nature, Mr. Novak. Do you care?
No, I know a guy who likes parrots.
You go to the stand and tell them you want the plant. Take it straight to the address I gave you. It's important. Don't let it out of your hands.
For $50, I'll act like we're married.
I better give you the money now.
Oh, you're eager. Suppose I don't deliver.
I found you tonight. I can do it again.
Mm-hmm. Well, where do I get in touch with you?
You don't. Mr. Novak, this is the last time over the course. So take a good look now.
Yeah, I'm away past midnight already. Suppose something goes wrong tomorrow.
Then it's very simple, Mr. Novak. You won't have to send for flowers. Good night.
I watched her as she turned and walked out the door. She was wearing a flowered print dress, and as she walked, the roses kept getting mixed up with the daisies. She walked with a nice, friendly movement, like the trapdoor on a gallows. As she reached the door, she turned and smiled once, as if she knew the $50 was just for laughs. I scooped up the dough before anybody could see it, because at Noonan's, everybody gets broke in one motion. I left a few minutes later, and I went home to bed. I dreamed real good on $50, so I felt good the next afternoon when I got to the corner of Post and Kearney. The flower stand was there, all right, and I leaned against the storefront to watch the guy for a while. Maybe I should have known then, because right away I got the idea he didn't know what he was doing. But you can say that for a lot of senators. So I let it ride. When the jewelry store clock across the street said 2 o'clock, I walked up to him.
Can I do something for you?
Yeah, give me a geranium plant.
What kind do you want?
Big one, small one, I don't care. It's 2 o'clock. I'll take that kind.
You want a geranium?
Look, it's going to get dark. You got that long to argue?
Here's the one you want, then.
If you say so. You want to wrap it?
No, it's all right. You carry it that way.
Well, I'm going to look real funny walking around with a handful of geranium.
Why do you want one, then?
I see. You don't feel like talking about it?
No. Just take it and be happy.
Yeah. How much?
Nothing. Doesn't cost a thing.
Suit yourself. You won't make much dough that way.
I'll make even less talking to you. Just take the plant and be careful.
No? How do you know what I'm going to do with the geranium?
I don't, mister. Some people eat them. Just be careful and goodbye.
Well, the way things were going, Post Street began to look like the main drag in Casablanca. I watched the guy fumble around with a customer for a minute, and then I crossed the street and started up toward Union Square. The cop gave me a kind of a funny look when he saw the geranium. He smiled as if he thought I had a pair of dancing sandals in my coat pocket. About halfway up the block, I stopped to look in an art store. Right then, I noticed the guy with a cane for the first time. He was standing near me, looking in the other window. He was a little guy and kind of wrinkled and bumpy. His skin looked like a cucumber full of powder. I started up the street and pulled in at a bookstore. He stopped, too, and I knew he was following me. When I got to Stockton, I turned left and walked toward Geary Street. Halfway down, there's a little street called Maiden Lane. Oh, it sounds gentle, but so does Vesuvius when you say it fast. I just started to cross when a black Nash pulled away from the curb. Some dead relative must have put in a good word for me.
Hey, over here! Hey, pull him over! Hey, over here! You all right, mister?
Yeah, I'll do, I guess.
You're lucky you're not dead.
Yeah, we're all that way. Give me a hand, will you?
Oh,
thanks.
That car came out of there and hit you on purpose. You're lucky you're not dead.
All right. I owe the house a free roll.
This lady here took down the license number. You want it?
Yeah, thanks.
You sure you're all right?
Yeah, I'm a slow bleeder. I dropped the plant somewhere around here.
This it? This red thing?
Yeah, that's it, thanks.
Didn't even hurt the plant. That's something. You know, when I saw that car come out of there and hit you, you know what I thought about you?
That fella's lucky he's not dead.
Yeah.
Well, I looked around, but the little guy with the cane had disappeared. As I crossed Union Square, I kept looking around, but he was gone. Well, I tried to forget about it, but I couldn't get it out of my mind. It kept coming back and showing up again like a bad reputation. Why had the guy started to follow me and then stopped so suddenly? And how about that guy in the car and that $50 geranium? Well, I got a cab over at the St. Francis stand, and I rode out to the address that the girl gave me. On the way, I looked at the flower. From what I could see, it was just a geranium planted in a little wooden box. Like all the rest of them, it bloomed unevenly with buds that looked too nervous to come out, like a debutante with thick ankles. When the cab pulled up at the address, it was a rooming house out on Clay Street. The note I had said third floor rear, so I went up there and knocked. There was no answer, so I went in expecting to find anything. Anything but what I did find. Hello?
Go away. Go away and leave me alone.
She closed her eyes and stopped talking. She was so sick it showed like a searchlight in a cave. Her complexion was pasty and the color of a November sky. She had no expression on her face, just thin lips drawn so tightly the rims were white. No, she wasn't ready to quit yet, but you could tell she'd been papering the house for years. And you wouldn't want to bet on her. She was going to last about as long as a warm snowflake. It was easy to tell. You got a bad cough. You need some sun.
I need more than that.
Yeah, I guess you do.
Who are you?
Relax. I'm not the welcome angel. I just brought you some flowers.
Is it a joke of somebody?
I don't know, lady. With me, it's a $50 hustle. They're your flowers, so you work out the right answer.
Go away. Go away, please.
You want the flowers?
You brought them for me, didn't you? Leave them and go away.
Well, it's just a geranium. I'm going to leave it on the table.
Why'd they send you?
My reason was $50.
Did you come to hurt me?
I don't know. Do you rate it?
Oh, I'm too tired. You couldn't really hurt me, could you? Thank you for coming. Thank you for your kindness.
Sure. If that's what it is, you're welcome. That's all she said, and that's all that happened in that little room up on Clay Street. It wasn't much, and it wasn't enough to worry you, but for some reason I felt like a man in quicksand complaining about his height. When I left there, I took a car down to Market Street, and I had dinner. Well, it didn't go right because I kept thinking about this afternoon and last night. Who did she mean by they, and where did all these people fit together? The guy with the cane, the gal that gave me the $50 and the little chair about a maiden lane. Well, I tried to forget about it, but it wasn't easy. It was like trying to change a typewriter ribbon with mittens on. After dinner, I went home. It was about 8 o'clock, and when I got in the apartment, it was dark. Before I had a chance to put on the light, I knew somebody was in the bedroom. I walked over to the door. In the dim light, it looked like a walrus in pants, but it turned out to be Inspector Hellman from Homicide.
Hello, Novak. I just dropped in for a chat.
You always chat with your hand in the bureau drawer?
It's restful. I've been looking over your stuff.
Is this a social call or are you out stealing?
Where you been, Novak?
What do you care, Hellman?
All right, I'll tell you where I've been. in a third-floor room out in Clay Street.
I left one this afternoon.
It's the same one. Your fingerprints are all over the joint.
I'll bet you checked everywhere.
What were you doing out there?
Delivering flowers.
Is that your best try, Novak?
It's the best I'm going to do for you. If you don't like it, check with a woman out there. I brought her flowers and left.
What woman?
The one on the couch, a black-haired girl with a half-dead look.
You're wrong twice.
Huh?
There's no girl out there, unless she's tattooed on the guy's chest.
Oh.
And that guy doesn't have a half-dead look. It's better than that.
All the way.
That's right. He's dead enough to pray for. Will that do?
Hellman's sleeve so full of fat, I didn't expect anything else up there. He flipped on the light, and I could see he was real pleased with himself. He was smiling like a guy who's just found his partner bidding no trump with 13 spades. He sat down on the bed and unbuttoned his coat. Part of his stomach oozed out and hung over his belt like a 1910 lampshade. He lit a cigarette, and then he began to run his tongue over a set of teeth that looked more like old mandolin picks than teeth. He blew smoke and looked about as appetizing as a piece of squid pie.
Must have been a short argument, Novak. The coroner says the guy checked out in a hurry.
What else does the coroner say?
It was good poison. You buy only the best, Novak.
Don't stub your toe, Hellman. I went up there to deliver a geranium plant.
So far, you got a good case. The guy was poisoned with a spring needle, hidden in that geranium box.
Who was he?
He didn't say, and there wasn't any identification. Do you want to help?
I don't know, Hellman. When I was there, we were doing Camille. Some ghost woman was dying on the couch by inches. It was her room. You better check.
We did. The room was rented 10 days ago by a man named George Langley. The landlady says there's never been a woman in the room.
That's what all landladies say. Wake up, Hellman. I stood there and watched her shake like a dust mop for 10 minutes. You can follow up on her and then check that florist stand at Kearney and Post.
What do I check for, Bull Weevils?
He's the guy that gave me that geranium plant.
We'll check. I want you down at headquarters by midnight tonight, Novak. You can talk to yourself till then. After that, you talk to us.
I'll make it up from here on, Hellman. You don't like it the other way.
Suit yourself, Novak. You know when you're due. In the meantime, we'll find out what we can.
I can't wait that long, Hellman. You couldn't find a tractor on the back porch. I'd hang if I waited for your boys.
That's what you're going to do. And at midnight, you can dangle as high as you want.
I don't mind as long as my feet are on the same level as your head. When Hellman left, I sat down to try to piece things together. I knew everything was there if I could just shove it into place. It was like trying to swap an egg beater for a mixmaster. I was pretty sure there was something about the geranium plant I should remember. One little thing that threw everything else out of focus. Well, I finally gave up. I was $50 ahead and one murder rap behind. Depends on how you like your fun. $50 is all right, but the pleasure's limited. Like giving somebody a hot foot in an ammunition dump. If I was going to drag the town, I needed help. So I looked up the only honest guy I know. An ex-doctor and a boozer by the name of Jocko Madigan. Oh, he's all right for a guy who thinks people with steady hands are lazy. I finally found him in a little tinsel joint on Mason Street. It was high class for the neighborhood. The smoke was only a week old, and they had a cigarette girl. A long, leggy biscuit that wandered around trying to sell a sour smile at sweet prices. Jocko was down at the end of the bar rolling some olives back and forth. The rhythm was fine.
Ah, Patsy, you're just in time to help me off the wagon. A stout glass for Mr. Novak.
Oh, I want to talk to you, Jocko.
Oh, Patsy, confidentially, I hate martinis. I just drink them for the vitamins. Everybody should have a few vegetables, and I have chosen olives.
Look, I'm in trouble, Jocko. Will you sober up and talk?
I could do that easily. I've done it 2 or 3 times, and it's no trick at all. But I refuse because it's a vulgar display of willpower.
Will you stop, Jocko?
You know, Patsy, there are only 2 things that could cause my downfall. Whiskey or women. I'm not particular. You find a nice old widow, and I'll quit this thing.
All right.
Some plump old party with a memory as vivid as my own. Preferably somebody rich enough to convince me the lines in her face weren't put there by worry.
Oh, stop it, will you?
Patsy, I'll allow you to motivate my dissent, but I will not permit you to bring it to a halt. I apologize for interrupting. Go on.
What do you know about flowers?
Oh, I think they're pretty on a woman's shoulder, but I suppose that's mixed devotion. Why?
Well, I'm going to need your help, Jocko. There's a dead guy out on Clay Street, and Hellman's campaigning for me.
How do the flowers fit in?
A geranium plant. The guy was poisoned with a needle in the box. I took the plant up there to a woman.
A clumsy approach. Why a geranium plant?
It's a mixed-up story. I got hired in Noonan's bar to pick it up this afternoon at Post and Kearney. I got gumshoed all the way up Post Street and hit by a car at Maiden Lane.
You looked bent when you walked in.
I took it out to this address, and I gave it to a dying woman. Now she's disappeared, and Hellman's after me for the dead guy on her floor. Oh, I need some help, Jocko. I got to find a way out of this.
Well, you passed up a golden opportunity when that car hit you.
That's one of the places you come in. Now, here's the license. I want you to hop down and check the registration, will you?
What else?
Find out who runs that flower stand at the corner of Post and Kearney. Now, if you get back in time, I can check tonight. Tag by my place. I'll either be there or I'll leave a message.
Where are you going?
To find a woman.
That seems like a peculiar way to handle a crisis.
Well, I gotta find the gal that started me out on this.
Patsy, I wish you'd forget about women.
And I wish you'd forget about whiskey.
Yes, we both have our problems. Except I enjoy one safeguard that you don't. At least I can look at the label and tell how old it is. Good night, lover.
Well, I got out of there and I went by Noonan's place. I asked him if he knew the girl in there last night. He said after 45, a man forgets about a woman's face, so I checked that lead off and started on the other girl. I hit all the cab stands out near Clay Street, and I finally found a hack that picked her up. It was about 4 o'clock, he said. She had luggage and rode over to Janet Street on Telegraph Hill, but he couldn't remember the address at the best rates in town, so I checked off that one, too. From here on, it was going to be a rough ride. I didn't know where to dig. I might as well have been out looking for a stick with one end. Well, I could try one more thing. I went by to search the Clay Street joint. It was a dirty room, and the geranium hadn't helped. There was a sweet odor and a thick, dusty cloud all over the place. It was like going to sleep in a bag of an old vacuum cleaner. There wasn't anything there that could help, and on my way out, I heard footsteps. I snapped off the light and waited. The door opened slowly. I couldn't see her face, but I knew it was the girl from Noonan's. Turn on the light and you'll see your friends.
Well, Mr. Novak.
Sit down. Let's talk.
In here? Why don't we drop by a gymnasium and get some fresh air?
We can start with your name.
It's easy. Say your piece, Mr. Novak. I've run out of $50 bills.
Yeah, that's the way it is with my patients. Who killed the guy?
I don't know, Patsy. I can narrow it down to one county for you, but after that you'll have to do your own sorting.
The police think I did it.
Maybe you did. You look big enough to carry the load. I don't care, Patsy. I'm not going to weep. I've got about 3 tiers left, and he isn't high enough on the list to rate one.
Who was he? And how'd you find out he was dead?
There's generally a dirty rim in the wash bowl. His name was Charles Dowd. Don't worry about him. He's a small-time guy set to fast music.
Well, I'm going to worry about him because homicide's worried about him.
Then worry in a calm way, Patsy. If you do it that way, I'll help.
Sit down. Now, look, lady, you better help out or I'll lose your teeth for you.
Patsy, you're tough. And everything, I guess.
Who runs that flower stand?
It wouldn't help. When he gave you that geranium, there was nothing wrong.
For $50, there had to be something wrong.
It wasn't full of poison. I know it was in there, and it wasn't poison. Somebody made a switch up here.
What happened to the girl?
I don't know. Relax. You're going to use up all that nice energy.
Look, sis, you can haul in those long legs and give me some answers.
I'm going to haul them in long enough to ask a few questions. My turn now, Patsy. Back over toward the door. You can talk on your way.
You look good with a gun.
You made a deal with George. I want to hear about it, Novak.
I don't even know George. If he's got a part, you just dealt him in.
I'm too old for fairy tales, Patsy. George got to you and found out about that geranium box. It couldn't have happened any other way.
Sorry, lady.
Remember, you're nothing to me, Novak. You're $50 worth of muscle. You're $50, and I'll spend you fast.
Go easy. You're going to break open a scene. I don't know your boy, George, and I can forget you, too.
You can do it while you're talking. I came a long way, Patsy. Too far to toss it over for a mail or a bum. You're just a passing pair of pants to me, and I'll throw you away faster than a wadded gun.
Now's your chance, baby. Come on.
Oh, let go. You're hurting my shoulder.
Relax. You're not going to have one in a minute. Come on, drop it. Now, reach down for that gun, and I'll jam you in the basement faster than a ton of coal.
All right.
Now, let's hear you talk.
I would, Patsy, but you're not listening.
That's what happens when you don't watch the door. Somebody falls in love with the back of your head. I didn't even have a chance to see who hit me. I don't know what good it would have done unless you're the kind of a guy who keeps a scrapbook on those things. When I woke up, I had company. He was taking a nap, too, only his was going to last longer. It was the little guy with the cane. He tailed me right to the end. He was lying there with his mouth open and a bunch of pink gum showing as if he was trying to pick up a few bucks with a toothpaste ad. I was still groggy, and I couldn't see around the room, but I could hear a slow, steady squeaking sound. I turned my head, and Hellman was sitting in a rocking chair. He looked as happy as a choir boy on Christmas Eve.
You have a good sleep, Novak?
Oh, why don't they move the morgue down here?
Yeah, I guess you ran out of poison.
Why don't you go away, Hellman?
Home, maybe, huh?
I don't owe your wife anything, so I'll wish that.
Who's the guy?
I don't know.
You looked chummy when I got here.
I don't know, Hellman. He followed me all over Post Street this afternoon. Check him yourself.
I did. There's nothing on him.
I'll bet his gold fillings are gone now.
Your trial run was a guy named Charles Dowd.
I know.
He was arrested in 1942 on suspicion of espionage.
He's in business again. A whole bunch of them are, and the kicker has something to do with that Geranium Plant.
What bunch?
These dead guys and a lot of others on the same schedule. It's that Geranium Plant. It all started at Post and Kearney. You better check that florist stand.
Don't you ever get tired, Novak?
Huh?
We checked the florist stand at Post and Kearney. The answer's no.
Did you talk to the guy?
No, because there is no florist stand at Post and Kearney.
You're crazy, Hellman. I got a Geranium Plant there this afternoon.
There's no florist stand at Post and Kearney. If you got a geranium there, it was grown out of a crack in the sidewalk.
I left Hellman standing there over the dead man. The little guy was looking up at Hellman with a dull, bored look like an usher in a burlesque house. I was sure now there was something about that geranium I'd missed. If I could find the string and pull it, the whole thing would unravel. The questions were piling up, and there was only one answer. Who got to that box and made a switch? Well, it was close to 11 when I got back to my apartment. Jocko was in the kitchen working on an experiment.
Ah, Patsy, I'm drinking to your memory. I'm making up for cheap booze with extra sentiment.
What'd you find out?
You were mixed up. There is no flower stand at Kearney and Post.
Now, look, I've been through all that once. It was Post and Kearney. I couldn't have made a mistake.
Oh, anybody can confuse a street. It can be done easily. I once confused 2 whole suburbs.
Yeah, all right.
I boycotted a bar in Alameda for months before I found out they gave me the Mickey in San Carlos.
Now, look, I know what I did, Jocko. Maybe the flower stand moved. Maybe it was never there before. But today it was at Post and Kearney. How about that license number?
The car is registered in the name of George Langley. Who's he?
He rented the murdered woman. He's mixed up in a switch on that Geranium Plant.
What kind of switch?
I don't know. But whatever it was, George did it. When it left that stand, there was something else in it besides a poison needle. Everybody knew it. The girl and the little guy with a cane, and probably the guy that drove that car.
They switched plans?
No, they changed. Yeah, I guess he could have done that too, huh?
Was the man with the cane behind you when you got hit by the car?
Yeah, I think you're right, Jocko.
He wasn't trying to kill you. In the confusion, the man with the cane switched plants on you.
Oh, Jocko, you're an angel. I'm going to do something for you someday.
You already have. I charged this bottle of whiskey to you.
Yeah, Novak talking.
I got news for you.
Mine's good, too. That poison needle plant was engineered by the little guy with the cane.
We identified him. His fingerprints match an espionage agent called George Langley.
Well, he was due any minute.
There's nothing else on him except he lived in a place up on Janet Street.
So it happened that way.
Huh?
That's where the other geranium is, Hellman. You better get up there before they ring down the curtain. That other plant's going to draw all the boys and girls.
What does that prove?
Nothing, except you haven't got any business bothering a flower unless you're a bee. Well, you never know how the cards are going to fall, but when it's a wild game like Red Dog, whichever way they fall, it's going to hurt. And the last card's the one that breaks your back. So when Hellman hung up, I grabbed a cab and rushed out to Janet Street. It's a little short street draped down the side of Telegraph Hill like a torn ribbon. When Hellman pulled up at the top of the hill, I met him, and we started down to George Langley's address. Hellman opened the front door, and as we started into the bedroom, we ran into a traffic jam.
I'm sorry.
Hello, Evie. This is Hellman from Homicide.
I don't have time now, Patsy.
That's all you got, baby. Grab her bag there, Hellman.
Patsy, you're crazy.
Open her bag, Hellman. That's what they're all after. There's the geranium over by the window.
Let's have the bag, lady.
You're all too grabby. I'll take it. Come on, Edie.
Who's this guy?
A pixie, Hellman. He's the guy that sold me the flower down at Post and Kearney.
I'm sorry you got mixed up, Novak, but I'm short on regrets tonight. Give me the bag, Edie.
Go easy. We're going to get in too deep.
You're in up to your nostrils now, baby. The bag. I want that piece of paper.
You don't need a gun, Gerard.
That's up to you, Evie. You double-crossed me, and I'm too old for a new set of tricks.
That's the way it had to be, Gerard. You can see that. When George cut in, there was nothing else to do. It was high man in, low man out.
You're out there, and I want the bag.
Stay away from me, Jerry.
Give me time. I'll get far away.
I'm going to hang on to it. Stay away, Jerry.
I hear you, but that's all, baby.
Give me a hand, Patsy.
You're going to need more than that, Angel.
Help me to the couch.
Sure, come on. There you are.
Thanks, Patsy. You didn't owe me that.
I can't take it back now.
How's Gerard?
He bleeds big.
If I wasn't so tired, I'd laugh and laugh.
No, I wouldn't do that, Angel. You're going to be there in time to hear the echo. What's in the bag?
A formula. One other thing, Pat.
Yeah?
One other thing.
What'd she say?
I don't know, Hellman. She took it with her.
Where does that leave us?
Short one girl. She's in the apartment or on her way up.
Don't look too hard, Mr. Novak.
How many more are there?
She's the big act. How do your friends look, sweetheart?
They look the way they should. Oh. They watched me get sick. They didn't do anything about it. They sat around waiting for the last ounce of blood to dry up.
You better go with Hellman.
Please take me when you have a chance. Take me to... No.
Yeah, you're more than ready.
I think they look wonderful. They let me work for years. They let me get this way. And then they sat around to listen to my heartbreak.
Well, I don't know why, but Hellman was confused. He finally got the story off the girl in a hospital bed. All 5 of them had worked together once, gathering government information, but when the big order came, double-cross set in like an epidemic. They were out after a formula. The dying girl had one half, and the other half was in that geranium plant. It came off the boat and went to that phony flower stand. Evie and Gerard were afraid to deliver it themselves, so they hired me to do it. The sick girl was in on another frame. She tipped off Langley, and he worked that hit and run with Dowd, only he forgot to tell Dowd about the poison needle. When Dowd was dead, the girl checked out for Langley's place. Between them, they had the formula, but they got in the beef, so she killed him. She came back to plant a phony lead for Evie, and that's how I got sacked. Evie tumbled and headed for Langley's place. When she left, the girl planted Langley next to me in that room and then went back to watch Evie and Gerard in that overtime match. I guess she was too sick to care one way or the other. Well, Hellman asked only one question. How come 5 such bad people ever got together in one shuffle? I don't know, except most people are full of a lot of good and a lot of bad. The day we met them, all the bad was showing.
The Armed Forces Radio Service has just brought you Pat Novak For Hire, starring Jack Webb. Pat Novak is produced by William P. Russo. Jocko Madigan is played by Tudor Owen. Inspector Hellman is played by Raymond Burr. Music was composed and conducted by Basil Adlam. Be with us again next week when over most of these same stations we'll bring you Pat Novak For Hire. This is the United States Armed Forces Radio Service, the voice of information and education.
Ladies and gentlemen, you may now read Dragnet every day on the comic page of your favorite newspaper. Please consult your local daily paper. The story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes. Best of all, king-size cigarettes brings you Dragnet on both radio and television.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to bunco detail. A team of confidence men are taking thousands of dollars from the people of your city. Their method of operation? Posing as solicitors for different charitable causes. There's no lead to their whereabouts. Your job? Stop them. Compare Fatima with any other king-size cigarette.
Yes, compare Fatima with any other king-size cigarette.
1. Fatima's length filters the smoke 85 millimeters for your protection.
2. Fatima's length cools the smoke for your protection.
3. Fatima's length gives you those extra puffs, 21% longer than standard cigarette size.
Fatima gives you more for your money.
And in king-size Fatima, you get an extra mild and soothing smoke, plus the added protection of Fatima quality. Buy Fatima in the bright, sunny yellow pack.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, February 16th. It was cold in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of bunco detail. My partner's Bill Lockwood. The boss is Captain Steve. My name's Friday. We were on the way out from the office, and it was 2:18 p.m. when we got to First and Valencia, the West Valley Hotel. Over here to the left, Joe. No, no. Excuse me?
Oh, sorry, we're all filled up. No more room.
No, we don't want to register. No, we're police officers. I'd like to check one of your guests.
You have a Raymond Seidel registered? S-E-I-D-E-double-L.
Let's see. No, there's no Raymond Seidel registered.
Small man, about 5'6", 130 pounds, tan complexion, between 35 and 40. Wears orange glasses.
Well, I don't know. What's the trouble anyway?
Anyone like that registered here?
Well, I was just about to say there's no Raymond Seidel. We got a Raymond Singer, though. Small fella. He wears glasses.
Yeah.
I'd say he's about 35 or 40.
He in his room now?
No, matter of fact, he just left a minute ago. He went out for lunch, I think, just before you fellas walked in.
Where's he usually eat, you know?
Our coffee shop right next door. He's got a gray top coat on, gray hat.
Okay, thanks.
You can use that door right here. It connects to the coffee
Right,
shop.
thank you.
Bottom?
Yeah, far end of the counter up to the front door, see him?
Yeah, description checks out.
All right, come on.
Spotted us going through the front door.
All right, police officers, hold it up there.
Make no run for it.
All right, come on. This way.
Where'd he go? I lost him.
Alley up ahead. He ducked in there.
Down the ramp, Joe. Hotel garage. Ran in there.
All right, come on, let's hurry. You spot him, Bill?
No. Any other way out beside this ramp?
Wait a minute. Yeah, down the far end there, another exit. I'll take that. You cover this end.
Right.
Hey, watch it, Bill. He's coming out. The blue sedan.
All right, hold it. Look out, Joe. Coming at us.
I'll go for his tire. All right, come on, Bill.
All right, stay where you are.
All right, don't shoot, don't shoot. All right, then hold it right there.
What's this, anyway? Wasn't doing anything.
Hands behind you.
Raymond Seidel, is that right?
That's right. I wasn't doing anything. What's this all about?
You know as well as we do.
Look what you did in my car. Just look at it.
You cracked it up, mister. We didn't. Come on.
Come on, where? I haven't done anything.
We want to talk to you downtown.
I'm not saying anything. You can talk to my lawyer. Get the story from him.
We already got it. Come on, let's go. 2:35 p.m. We took the suspect, Raymond Seidel, back to the hotel with us, where we checked his room thoroughly. Bill got on the phone, made arrangements to have Seidel's car impounded, and a stakeout placed at the hotel. Then we drove back to the city hall and took the suspect to the interrogation room. A check through our Records and Identification Bureau earlier in the day had revealed a fair-sized record for Seidel. He'd had 4 previous local arrests, 2 for petty theft, 1 for second-degree burglary, 1 for grand theft auto. He'd been convicted on one of the petty thefts and also on the burglary charge, for which he'd served time in the state penitentiary at San Quentin. Bill and I started questioning him. The first half hour, we got nowhere.
I told you I haven't been doing anything. I've been clean ever since I got out.
Where were you last night, Ray?
Knocking around town.
What'd you do?
Had a couple of drinks, went to a show, came out and went to see some bimbo I know.
What's your name?
Helen lives up on South Custer, and you can ask her. She'll tell you I was there.
What time did you see her?
About 10 o'clock? Yeah, just about.
You're a liar, Ray.
Hmm?
You're a liar.
What gives you a call to say that? It's the truth.
And 4 other people must be lying.
Well, what do you mean, what other people?
You know what I mean. Now, how about it, Ray?
I don't know what you mean, so help me. I don't.
Why don't you give it up, Seidel? You ought to know better. We wouldn't have you down here if we didn't have you pegged.
Pegged for what? I don't even know what you're talking about.
All right, then I'll tell you, Ray. About 8:30 last night, you put in a call to a Mr. and Mrs. Gerald Keyes. They live out in East Hollywood, Gladstone, 3962. Mrs. Keyes answered the phone. You told her you were taking contributions for European children, war orphans. You knew she was interested in the cause. You asked her for a donation.
You're crazy. That wasn't me. I don't even know the
You done Mrs. Keyes, and she agreed to contribute. She offered $50. You talked her up to $150. She asked you where to send the money, and you said, never mind, you'd be out to collect it. 45 minutes later, you were out there. You parked your car by a candy store down the street from the Keyes home. You walked up the block to the Keyes place, collected the money, and you left.
Now, you prove it was me. You prove
We got it cold, Seidel. Mrs. Keyes' husband got suspicious about the setup. 45 minutes after you phoned, you were at the front door with your hand out. You had no credentials, nothing. He noticed you parked your car down the street instead of in front of the house. You got the license number of your car when you pulled away. So the owner of the candy store. You parked your car just outside his place. All three of them can describe you and your car. Mr. Keyes, Mrs. Keyes, the man at the candy store.
Yeah, that's right.
Getting over to you, Ray?
Gonna take more than a couple of people to build a case.
All right, we got more. You gave Mrs. Keyes a signed receipt for the $150. You signed it Tom Seidel. Our handwriting man checked the signature with a specimen of your handwriting we got from your package. Now, they both checked, not a doubt in the world. What do you say?
I don't know. What would you say?
Your jam. What's the story?
Listen, Annie, why should I dig my grave?
Any way you want it. You're going to stay on the load for the last 2 months, including the one you pulled last night. It makes 14 cases.
It's a lie. It's a lousy lie.
Cigarette, Ray?
What are you trying to do to me anyway? 14 jobs. I never hustled that hard in my life.
That's how many we've had in the last couple of months.
Why load them on me?
Every one of them follow the same general M.O. Same way you worked it last night. We don't know where you got your list of names, but you contact people who are interested in different charities. You pose as an authorized solicitor. You get their money and then you take off. The last 2 months you've been collecting for more than 10 different drives. European orphans, the milk fund, summer camp for underprivileged kids, crippled children's fund. The people give their money in good faith and you take off with it.
Look,
your M.O. follows all the way through. It's a sour racket, Ray. We're going to lean hard on you.
I said, will you wait a minute? No, when I'm done, I'll give you the story.
Yeah?
I'm not taking the whole load on my back. I'll cop out to the one last night, but that's all.
You look good for all of them.
Look, will you give me a chance? The one last night was the first try for me. It's the only one I ever tried. I'm squaring with you. I was crazy even to make a pass at it. Should have known better. I'm not a bunk man.
I already told you, Ray. Last night's a close match with the other job. You say you'll cop out to one. How do we account for the other 13?
Just among us. Whatever I say, I don't want credit for.
All right. What's the pitch?
Can I have that cigarette now?
Yeah. There you are.
Yeah, thanks.
Here's a match.
Thanks. I got out into things Sunday night. Doing a little drinking at this place on Boyle Avenue. There were a couple of guys at the bar who were talking about it. I didn't know them.
Talking about what?
The racket. Getting a list of marks and collecting charity money from them. These two guys weren't working it. They just heard it was going on. They were yakking to the bartender about it. They figured some out-of-town grifters were doing it.
And you figured you'd get in on the bandwagon, is that it?
Well, I thought I'd try a couple of jobs, that's all. Need a few bucks to tide me over. Didn't look like much of a risk.
How do you mean?
Well, I heard about the M.O. the grifters were using. Pretty simple to copy. I followed it through just the way I heard they did it. They had a half dozen jobs under their belt already. If you knocked them over and they had to stay on the rap, a couple of jobs of mine wouldn't make any difference.
Free ride, is that what you figured on?
Well, what's the difference? I didn't get it. Figured you'd catch up with them and they'd take the rap for my jobs along with their own. And just my luck. You get me instead, and now I'm up to stay on the rap for everything.
Now, it's a pretty fair story, Ray. Any way of proving it?
Sure, easy. These grifters started working here 2 months ago, didn't they? They hit pretty hard the first week or so, didn't they?
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't even in town then. Wasn't here the whole month. I was up in Monterey.
Any way of proving that?
Sure, ask the sheriff up there.
Huh?
Ask the sheriff. He'll tell you.
Well, why should he know anything about it?
He ought to. He had me in jail the whole month.
3:40 p.m. While Bill continued questioning the suspect, Raymond Seidel, I went down the hall to the squad room and put in a call to the Monterey County Sheriff's Office. They confirmed Seidel's story. He'd been arrested in the town of Monterey December 13th, approximately 2 months before, on charges of vagrancy and suspicion of robbery. He was confined in the county jail there from December 13th to January 15th, the same period of time during which the unidentified bunco men had started their campaign of falsely soliciting funds for various charities. While the information cleared Seidel of any part in the bunco charity operations throughout the city that month, he still had to answer for his actions the night before, soliciting contributions falsely from the couple out in East Hollywood, Mr. and Mrs. Keyes. After his statement was taken, Bill Lockwood and I drove Seidel to the main jail, where we booked him in on suspicion of 48 PC petty theft. Further investigation the next day and a half seemed to indicate that the last story we got from Seidel was pretty close to the facts. It was the case of a small-time thief imitating the apparently successful formula of a veteran team of bunco artists, an imitation which in the criminal world is far from unusual. A week passed. Despite the broadcast the bulletins, and the special notices we'd gotten out on the suspects and their operations, there were 3 more cases reported. One of them came from a Mrs. Teresa Guilfoyle, the woman in charge of the crippled children's home. Bill and I drove out to talk to her.
This is the first thing I want to show you, officers.
What's that?
This way, please.
Go ahead, Bill. Yes, ma'am?
Here, sweetheart. There are 2 gentlemen here I'd like to have you meet. Stephen, this is Sergeant Friday, and this is Officer Lockwood, their policeman. This is Stephen, officer. He's 3 years old.
Well, how are you, Stephen?
Hello, son.
He'd like to say hello, officers, but he can't. His legs aren't his only trouble. He can't hear. He can't talk either.
Oh, too bad.
You're learning, though, aren't you, sweetheart? You bet you are. In a little while with us, and you'll be talking a blue streak. All right, honey. You run along and play now. Real sweetheart, isn't he? I wanted you to meet him, so you'd see what this means to us. When I look at children like that, this whole mess just makes my blood boil.
Yes, ma'am. We see what you mean.
It's hard enough getting people to contribute money to keep this place open, help those poor kids to walk and talk. Thieves have to make it even harder. The way things are, I can't see how we're going to get through the year.
Oh, how much do you estimate it's cost you, Mr. Guilfoyle? I mean, how much in donations have these phony solicitors taken?
Well, I know of at least $700 they collected from different people. Lord knows how much more money they got that was supposed to go to the home. I suppose a lot of people still think they gave their money to the right person.
Well, did you receive the notice we sent out about 6 weeks ago, ma'am, about how these thieves operated?
Yes, I did. I made a special note of it. When we sent out our annual appeal letter to our regular donors, most of your notice was incorporated right in it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what happened. I guess they didn't pay any attention to it.
When did you first find out something was wrong, ma'am?
It was yesterday morning. One of our regular donors, Mr. Baxter, called me. He wanted to know if we received his contribution all right. He wondered because he didn't receive his regular thank you note. That's when he told me about this man who came to his house and collected the money.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as I heard that, 2 of the other girls and myself got on the phone and called every one of the regular donors. There were 10 of them, just like Mr. Baxter. Gave their good money to help these tots, and we never received a penny of it. I've got all their names and addresses here if you'd like them.
Yes, ma'am.
You're welcome to them if you want them.
Yes, that'd be fine. We'd like to check with each one of them. Now, this is the complete list, all the regular donors who contributed and their money wasn't received. Is that right?
Well, yes, sir, all those we know of. There's probably a lot more, I suppose. You've been in police work for a few years, haven't you, Sergeant? You must have met all kinds.
Yes, ma'am, I suppose so.
What kind would you say these men are? I mean, going around and stealing the little regular income we have from donations. What kind of persons can they be?
Well, there's thousands of them, Miss Guilfoyle. They walk every city in the world. They want money. They want everything that goes with it. They'll do anything but work for it.
But the money these men are stealing, they must know it's for these crippled children. They help them walk again, help them talk, little kids like Stephen.
Yes, ma'am.
And these men call themselves human beings. And they take help away from a child like that. Humans. I couldn't be more ashamed of them. Ashamed to live in the same city with them.
Yes, ma'am.
You'd think God would punish them. You'd think God would come down and punish them right now.
Well, maybe he's even ashamed. Before we left, Mrs. Guilfoyle gave us a complete list of the names and addresses of donors who contributed annually to the upkeep of the crippled children's home. For the next couple of days, Bill and I contacted each one of them personally. Those people who'd already given their contributions to the thieves unknowingly were unable to help us. Their descriptions of the men who solicited money from them in the name of the crippled children's home generally duplicated the descriptions we'd gotten from the previous victims. None of them were very detailed, but they did seem to confirm our theory that there were 2 or more men involved in the bunco operation. Receipts for the money they'd given the thieves were signed either by a Fred Wellman or a Norman Archer. The handwriting varied in each case. Those donors on the list who had not yet been contacted were the best hope we had of reaching the suspect. Since the crippled children's home appealed for funds only through the mail, we advised these people to get in touch with us immediately if anyone contacted them by phone and asked for contributions. A few more days passed. Monday, February 27th. We got a call back from one of these donors, a Mr. George Stage of the Consolidated Pool Company out in the valley. We located him supervising work at the site of one of their pool constructions in the Toluca Lake area.
Oh, yeah, glad to see you again, Sergeant. Say, could you hold on just a minute? I want to test that batch of mud and see if the mixture's right. Won't take a minute.
Yes, sir. Go right ahead.
Andy, come here a minute, will you? How's that mixture look for you?
Sure a nice-looking pool, isn't it, Bill?
Big one. Sure be nice to have, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Why don't you look into it?
Well, all I could afford to do right now is look into it.
Okay, Sergeant, 6 to an even. Want to go over by the truck, lose some of this racket so we can talk?
All right, that's fine.
I hope I got something for you. Not sure if it'll be worth anything to you.
You said on the phone you got a call last night.
Well, I didn't. My wife did. They wanted to talk to me, but I wasn't home yet. Out finishing a pool for some folks in Encino.
Uh-huh.
Have a seat there if you want. You know, this running board for you.
Oh, that's all right. Fine. Well, what was the gist of the phone call, Mr. Stage? Who was it?
Well, as I say, the wife answered. Fella told her his name was Mr. Archer. Said he was collecting for the crippled kids' home. Of course, the wife knew the setup. After you talked to me, I warned her about the phony collectors going around.
What'd she tell him, Nancy?
Well, she didn't get a chance to tell him anything. He did most of the talking. Gave her a big spiel about how much the poor crippled kids needed help. The wife asked him if he'd leave a number so I could call him back when I got home.
Well, did he leave a number?
No. Gave some phony excuse he wouldn't be at the same phone, something like that.
No.
Went out to ask her if she couldn't make out a check. Said he could come right out to pick it up. The wife said no, she couldn't. Matter of fact, she couldn't. I've got the checkbook. Excuse me. Andy, get one of the boys to help you down the hole. You can't do that all by yourself. My partner, Andy's a great worker.
Yes, sir. Well, what was the upshot of the phone conversation between Archer and your wife on this?
Well, she kept asking for a phone number or an address, someplace where I could get back to him when I got home. I guess they got it figured, though. He wouldn't give her a thing.
And that's the way it ended, sir?
Yes, sir, that's it. Might be I'll have better luck, though.
Well, how do you mean?
Well, this fella Archer told the wife he'd call me back tonight.
You are listening to Dragnet, authentic stories of your police force in action.
Because of its quality, its extra mildness, its better flavor and aroma, more smokers coast to coast are switching to king-size Fatimas every day.
Prove Fatima quality yourself.
Compare Fatima with any other king-size cigarette.
1. Fatima's length filters the smoke 85 millimeters for your protection.
2. Fatima's length cools the smoke for your protection.
3. Fatima's length gives you those extra puffs, 21% longer than standard cigarette size.
Fatima gives you more for your money.
And in king-size Fatima, you get an extra mild and soothing smoke, plus the added protection of Fatima quality.
Friends, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Fatima contains the finest tobaccos superbly blended. And Fatima is extra mild, with a much different, much better flavor and aroma. Remember, Fatima gives you more for your money because it's king size and because you get the added protection of Fatima quality. Look for the bright sunny yellow pack. Switch to Fatima today.
Monday, February 27th, 1:30 p.m. As soon as we found out there was a possibility that one of the bunco suspects might contact the potential victim, George Stage, that night, Bill and I started making arrangements to be ready for him. At 6:45 p.m., we were at the Stage home when the suspect telephoned. He identified himself as Norman Archer. George Stage followed our instructions to the letter. He agreed to make a contribution and asked Archer to call at his home to pick up the check. He set the date for 9 o'clock that night to allow us enough time for preparation. We got in touch with Lieutenant Lee Jones at the crime lab, and he sent out 2 of his sound technicians with a microphone set up and a tape recorder. By 8 p.m., the installation was complete. The microphone concealed in the living room of the Stage home, and the tape recorder set up in an adjoining room. Bill and I were stationed at the recorder in the bedroom. 8:30, 8:45. We waited. 9 p.m., 9:05.
Somebody at the front door.
Yeah. You want to give me that headset, Bill?
Here you go.
Thank you. Okay. Want to turn on the recorder?
Right, Joe.
Stage? Yes, sir, that's right. My name's Norman Archer, Mr. Stage. I'm glad to know you. Oh, yeah, Archer. Glad to meet you. Come on in. Thank you. Very nice place you have here. Comfortable. We're pretty happy with it. Sit down, Archer. Thank you. Well, say, I hope I'm not interrupting your evening, Mr. Stage. Oh, no, that's all right. Just sitting here watching television. I see. Well, I'll only take up a moment of your time. I don't suppose I have to tell you what a worthy cause it is I represent, Crippled Children's Home. I'm glad to make a donation. It's one of my favorite charities. I'm certainly happy to hear that, sir. Whether you haven't any idea how much good your money does. Those little tots out at home really need our help, all the help we can give them. I suppose they do. Are you one of the officials out at the home? Well, yes, I suppose you can call it that. I'm one of the authorized collectors for the maintenance fund. I have a receipt here for your donation, all made out in your name. Yes, here we are. I suppose you know that all donations to the home are deductible from your income tax.
Yeah.
Well, here we are. Sheet's all filled out. Your name and address. This space here I'll left vacant. The amount of your contribution. I'll fill it down right now.
All right.
How much would you like me to put you down for, sir?
Well, I don't know. I don't have too much cash on hand. Will a check be all right?
Well, actually, we don't like to be fussy, but it does help our bookwork. The donations are made in cash, still pays the handling of funds.
Oh, well, I've only got $20 or $30 in cash. I'd like to give more than that. You sure a check wouldn't be all right?
Well, as I say, it's simple if the donation is cash, but a check is all right. That's fine.
Okay. Make it out for you. All I've got here is my company check.
How's that?
Company checks are all I have here. Consolidated Pool Company. I guess it'll work just as good. Be like a donation from the company.
Oh, fine.
Now, how should I make that out now payable to the Crippled Children's Home?
No, the home doesn't have a commercial banking account. It's not incorporated, you know.
Oh, isn't it? I thought it was.
Oh, I usually handle the check donations through my personal account, so you can just make it out to me. You know, we have to simplify bookwork, and it takes a lot of work to run a home like that, and we can't afford a bookkeeper either.
See. I'll make it out to, sorry, what's your first name again?
Norman Larcher. A-R-C-H-E-R. How much shall I put you down for?
Well, let's see. I think I gave $200 last year. Yeah, I think that was it.
Yes, we certainly appreciate it, too. Of course, it's like everything else. Our maintenance costs have gone up. You give those youngsters nothing but the best. I mean, if you could see your way clear to make it a little more this year, we'd certainly thank you for it. That goes for those crippled kids, too.
Well, I guess I could make it a little more. We've had a pretty good year. Let's make it $250.
That'd be fine. That's wonderful. Sure appreciate it, Mr. Stade. Really, if it wasn't for such a great cause, I'd be embarrassed asking you for money.
Not at all. Only glad I can afford it. Here you are. You better watch the ink. I think it's still wet.
Thank you very much, sir. I guess I don't have to tell you again how much we appreciate it. Let's see. Where did I put my hat?
It's right outside in the hallway.
Oh, yes.
There you are.
Thank you. Well, I'll see that your check gets in the bank first thing in the morning.
All right. Thanks for coming out.
Pleasure, Mr. Stage. Thank you. You don't know how much this check means to us.
I think I do. Good night.
Good night, sir.
Joe, come on, let's go.
You hear it all right? You hear what he said?
Yes, sir, we got it.
How rotten can you get, huh?
Yes, sir. Bill, you want to take a look out the window?
Right.
Mr. Stage, will you leave that tape recorder right where it is? Don't let anyone touch it. We'll be back.
Yeah, all right.
He's pulling out, Joe, heading down the street, Grace Sedan.
All right, let's go. We'll call you, Mr. Stage.
Yeah, okay.
You see him, Bill?
Yeah. Down past the next block.
All right, let's hurry. Go ahead, slide on my side. Now, let's keep the lights off for a couple of blocks. Don't get him excited.
All right.
Can you see him? One turning left, gray sedan. Is that him?
Let's see. Yeah, that's it.
All right. Pull up close if you can, huh? See if we can make his license.
Give it a try. How's that?
A little closer. Okay, that's fine. 1 sugar 16605.
All right.
I'll check it to see if it's hot. 1K80 to control 1. 1K80 to control 1.
Control 1 to 1K80. All other cars on frequency 6 stand by.
1K80 to control 1. Request rolling make for stolen and DMV on 1 sugar 16605. Repeat. 1S1 6605. KM 8367.
Control 1 to 1K80. 1 sugar 16605. Stand by.
You should have gotten a good look at him, Bill. Might have recognized him, huh?
Yeah, I couldn't take a chance. Anyway, it's worth more if we get him and his partner together. Wrap it all up in one. Save us a lot of headache.
Yeah, well, don't lose him. He turned left up the next corner.
Yeah, I saw him. He hasn't made it.
Yeah, I think we're in the clear. All right, you can turn your lights on, huh?
All right.
Control 1 to 1K80. Control 1 to 1K80. 1 sugar 16605, no 1. Car is a 1950 Pontiac, 2-door sedan. Registered to Charles A. Sutton, 5840 Octavia Street, Los Angeles. Motor number 1 Adam 6 Paul 3342. Legal the same. KMA 367.
1K80 to control 1. Would you check records for Charles A. Sutton? Age and description unknown. Rush request. We have suspect under rolling surveillance.
Control 1 to 1K80. Roger.
Looks like he's slowing down, Joe. Yeah.
All right, don't press him. Yeah, he's pulling up. He'll stop there.
Better cut the light.
Yeah, pull up right here, huh?
Can you see him?
Yeah. Going up to that house. Porch light on.
Yeah. Must be where he keeps his pad. Acts like he's been there before.
There's a man answering the door. He's going in.
Control 1 to 1K80. Come in.
1K80 to control 1. Go ahead.
Control 1 to 1K80. We have a Charles A. Sutton, WMA, 42 years, 5'9", 163 pounds, brown hair, blue eyes. He has a long felony record, suspicion of robbery, suspicion of burglary, grand theft, bunco. Also 3 outstanding traffic warrants. License number 1 Sugar 16605.
1K80 to Control 1, Roger. KMA 367.
What do you think?
Let's take him.
Right.
All right, you want to take the back, Bill? I'll go in the front.
Okay, give me a second to get around.
Right.
Yeah?
Police officer, want to talk to... All right, come on, open it up. Oh, carry the cop! All right, hold it right there, against the wall.
All right, you're back inside, police officer. Joe, all right?
Yeah. Did you get him all right?
It's okay. Come on up front, Joe.
What are you trying to do? What's this all about?
We'll talk downtown. You know what it's all about.
All right, over next to your partner.
What are you doing anyway? You haven't got anything on us.
You want to get the cuffs on him, Bill?
Stand still, both of you.
Here's mine.
What's the pitch here anyway? Harry and I haven't done anything. Busting in here like this, private house, you got no business here.
$250 says you're wrong.
What?
This check in your right-hand pocket. All right, come on, let's go.
The story you have just heard was true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On May 28th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 88, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. Friends, this coming weekend, I'd like to suggest that you put Fatimas at the top of your shopping list. You'll find it's mighty convenient to have enough Fatimas around the house to last into the next week. When you shop, just look for the bright, sunny yellow carton. You'll find Fatima gives you an extra mild and soothing smoke. And remember, Fatima gives you more for your money because it's king size and because you get the added protection of Fatima quality. Get a carton tomorrow. Fatima.
Charles A. Sutton and his accomplice Harold B. Mather were tried and convicted on 3 counts of grand theft money and received sentences as prescribed by law. Grand theft is punishable by imprisonment in the state penitentiary for not less than 1 nor more than 10 years. The initial suspect, Seidel, pled guilty to petty theft and received a sentence of 1 year in the county jail. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Frazier. Heard tonight were Ken Peters, Virginia Gregg, Vic Rodman. Script by Jim Moser. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
King-size Fatima, made by the same people who make popular Chesterfield cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Each Thursday night, it's Counter Spy on NBC.
My name's Jeff Regan. I get 10 a day and expenses from a detective bureau run by a guy named Lyon. Anthony J. Lyon. They call me the Lion's Eye.
With Jack Webb as Jeff Regan, Investigator, stand by for hard-boiled action, mystery, and thrilling adventure in tonight's story of The Man in the Door.
Well, this is the way it started. The Lion called about 4 o'clock that afternoon. Said he wanted to see me down at the office. I argued a while and finally told him I'd be there. Melody was sitting in front of her typewriter when I came in, putting a new coat of paint on her nails. She handed me a blank contract with no dates filled in, jerked a thumb toward the Lion's Den. I went in.
Regan, I'm glad you got here. What do you know about architects?
They draw things.
I know that much, but what about bids and all that stuff?
Well, they figure out what a building's going to cost, don't they?
Go on.
If whoever's paying for the building likes what they write down, then they're hired.
A couple of architects, maybe 3 or 4 make bids.
Well, I suppose so. Low man gets the job. Why?
Our client's an architect named Dudley Haynes, an office in the Park Central building. He thinks maybe the bank that's handling his bid might try to put something over on him.
Banks don't do things like that.
He thinks maybe a guy who works at the bank might be taking dough to shove his bid under the counter.
Why did you say that in the first place?
Because I'm saying it now. Haynes wants us to look into it.
All right, who do I see?
Haynes first. I only talked to him on the phone. I told him we'd have to have a contract and retainer before we did anything.
That figures.
So hop over there and find out what's what and make him sign that contract and get a check.
Anything else?
Make sure it's certified and call me if you run into any trouble.
Dudley Haynes, architect, Park Central building, had an office on the 9th floor. When I went in, a girl with hair that figured to be blonde right down to the roots pulled off her glasses and put out her cigarette. And she kind of eased out of her chair behind that desk, moved toward me, like a panther looking for a meal.
My, you're tall, aren't you?
Well, there's nothing I can do about that.
Mr. Lyons said he was sending us one of his best men.
He always says that.
I think he meant it this time.
He's an awful liar, lady.
Dorothy. Dorothy Nolan.
Fits?
The name or the dress?
Both.
What's yours?
Jeff Regan.
Oh. Well, now we know each other.
That's nice. I came to see Haynes. He wants me to look into something for him.
I know.
He's expecting me.
I know.
Well?
I hope you have to look into a lot of things.
For Haynes?
No.
This is his office, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. But he spends most of his time in 902 into the hall. Makes his blueprints up there. I'll take you. You are tall.
Well, we started down the hall. We got about 10 feet from the frosted glass door at the end. We both stopped. We were looking at the outline of a big man behind the door. Both of us expected him to open it and walk out. Oh, he came out all right, but he walked right through it. Oh, he's been shot.
Oh.
Do you know him?
It's my boss, Mr. Haynes.
No, it was your boss, lady. He's dead. Lieutenant Salvatore Wendetti, Central Homicide Detail, showed up about 8 minutes after I called. He had his whole goon squad with him and a couple of guys in double-breasted suits from the district attorney's office. They roped off the entrance to the building, got hold of the elevator operators, the man who runs the cigar stand, and asked some questions. Then Wendetti looked at what was left of Haynes and started yelling into a phone.
Send a basket over, but don't move until my fingerprint boys get through. Yeah. Okay, sis, where the guy live?
At the Biltmore Hotel.
Where's his wife?
We didn't have one.
What do we tell?
We didn't have any family.
So no one's going to cry. Well, that makes it easier. Regan, was he your client?
No, nobody's a client until they sign a contract, Sally.
Well, you would bring him a contract to sign, and then you would do something for him. What?
Well, I didn't talk to him.
Sis?
Mr. Haynes had made an estimate on a little office building in Beverly Hills. He thought that a man named Adler at the bank might be taking money from someone to hold his bid out.
So he wants an investigator to look into it. Why do you think that?
Oh, I don't know.
You work for him.
Well, I don't know everything.
Neither do I. Hot, isn't it? Who's Adler?
Oh, just a name, isn't it?
Who else?
Who else?
Architects. Who else was making a bid?
I don't know that.
Now, where are we? Kelly!
Yes?
Guy named Adler at the
Grand
National
Bank.
Pick him up and have him down to my office in half an hour.
Yes? What do you want to do about reporters, Sally?
Tell him to go jump in the lake.
Yes.
They always spell my name wrong. How long you two known each other?
An hour?
Nice.
What do you mean by that?
Just nice. Didn't hear any shots?
No, we didn't.
Tell me more about the bid.
What's there to tell?
The setup.
Well, the bank handles the money.
Who says yes, who says no?
Well, the bank, but...
But what?
The contractor usually tells them who to take.
Huh? Who's that in this case?
Contractor in Long Beach, his name is George Cantrell.
I'll say this to you, Regan. When you get mixed up in anything, you certainly get mixed up with the good-looking people.
I'm not mixed up in anything.
What do you say, sis?
I'll keep my mouth shut.
She's a smart girl, Regan. Hello, honey. Won't be home for dinner. Some guy got himself killed and I'm in on it. Not long, no. Regan? I'll tell her. Wife says hello. Says come out to dinner sometime. Sis?
How much that contract worth?
Oh, on the building in Beverly Hills, about $40,000.
Profit?
No, overall.
Break it down.
Well, Mr. Haynes would have cleared about $12,000 if he'd gotten.
I know some guys would kill for a dime. Sam, where's Daddy? I'm still at the Park Central building. Get out to Long Beach and talk to a contractor named George Cantrell. And find out what architects were making bids on some stuff he was going to put up in Beverly Hills. Yeah, get the name. Okay, that about does it. Let's go. Miss Nolan?
What?
I have to take you down.
Jeff, can you do that?
Well, you're a material witness.
Well, what are you?
He's a bystander with a built-in lawyer.
Well, I do, Jeff.
Go with him.
Why do you want to spend the night in jail? I just worked for Mr. Haynes.
No phone calls. This is a murder case.
Well, get me a lawyer or something, Jeff.
Do you know a lawyer?
No. Wait, yes, I do. His name's Dave Henderson. He lives at 1648 Claremont Place. Will you probably tell him I'm in trouble?
Yeah. Check, Sally?
She didn't make a phone call, and I like her, too.
Well, look, he may not be able to do anything for you tonight. It's almost 6.
But you'll see him as soon as possible.
Yeah?
Tell him I'm scared, Jeff. Scared stiff.
Well, I stayed there and phoned the lion, told him what had happened. Well, he got mad and yelled something about me being a jinx on all our clients, and then he hung up. So I went through the classified telephone directory under attorneys and Henderson. There was a Ben, a George, a Joe, a William, but no Dave Henderson. So I drove out to the address that she'd given me. It was a blue apartment house 4 blocks west of Vermont over by the Coliseum. Somebody was cooking hamburgers somewhere, and somebody was all worked up over a ball game on the radio. I picked the baseball fan.
Oh, what'll happen now is anybody's guess, but let me tell you that this ball game is a long way from being up. Hey, what'd I tell you? It's outside the ballpark, and they're coming in like homing pigeons. Bases are loaded, and they're all coming in. Oh, it's going to be 8-5.
Come on, the ball game's not that good.
What's so important, Pilgrim? I'm with the ball game.
I'm looking for a man named Dave Henderson, a lawyer.
So what?
Somebody told me he lives in this apartment house.
Who told you that?
A lady.
Ha!
Does he live here?
You try looking at the mailbox?
No name.
You cop?
Private type.
Ha!
Does he live here?
Sure he lives here.
Well, where?
End of the hall, 106.
Thanks.
So he's a lawyer, is he? With his kind of friends? Ha!
What does that mean?
You're young, ain't you, Curly?
I got a driver's license.
Let me tell you something. Don't go knocking on no doors and hear a ball game. Remember that.
Yeah, I'll remember.
And you can tell him Tessie Bogart to start to that one.
And the score is 8-5 coming into the first half of the ninth, and this has been some ball game, let me tell you.
106. Here we are.
Come on in. It's unlocked.
Your name Dave Henderson?
Yeah, who wants to know?
My name's Regan. I'm a private investigator with the International Detective Bureau.
Wrong steer gumshoe. I don't need one.
Look, I'm not looking for work. I'm looking for you.
What'd you say it was? Regan?
That's right.
R-E-G-A-N. Regan. Regan. Learned that just an hour ago. Cute, huh?
I met a friend of yours today.
Dave Henderson never had a friend.
She said she was a friend of yours.
But I didn't say I was a friend of hers. Hey, who are we talking about anyway?
Dorothy Nolan.
How is Dorothy?
Not so good.
Thought you were a detective.
I am.
You sound like a doctor.
Look, you sound like a guy with a chip on his shoulder.
Sound like a lot of things. You're trying to be tough, baby.
No wonder you aren't in the telephone directory.
I'll just skip that.
She said you were a lawyer.
I say I drink too much. You haven't seen me drinking, have you?
She wants you to get in touch with her. The man she was working for was murdered today.
She kill him?
Well, they're holding her.
Material witness or suspect?
Material witness right now. She doesn't want to spend the night in jail.
Who does? That's why she isn't feeling so good, huh? He wants me to get her out.
Something like that.
Who's handling the case downtown?
Detective named Wendetti.
Yeah, and where do you come in?
Well, I didn't give her that one phone call.
Yeah. You're sensitive. What if I said no?
Well, that's your business.
You know why she asked you to see me? Because I'm a guy she knows. And every guy who knows little Dorothy does a little something for her. Ever met him like that, Regan?
Sometimes.
I'm just checking.
Checking what?
She's pretty good with the works. Eyes just right for the job. Hair just right. Everything just right. She can make you do a lot of things you don't want to do.
wait till you see her in a bathing suit. It's something, brother.
Well, they aren't wearing them in the county jail.
Okay, I'll phone Wendetti and find out what her bond is.
Look, this is a murder case. There's no bond on this. You know that.
It all depends how you handle it. I'll think of something.
Yeah, I'll bet you will.
We don't like each other much, do we?
Nope.
That's the way it goes.
Listen, she said to tell you she was scared.
Well, some of us are scared part of the time. And somebody gets shot. And everybody gets scared. You scared?
Nope.
Iron Man Regan. Have a good time.
Did I say Haynes was shot?
No. You didn't say a thing. See you somewhere, Peter.
Well, I stopped by Musso Frank's and had the special, and then I went on home. I tried to make a couple of calls, but Wendetti was out, and the desk sergeant thought I was a reporter, and he wouldn't tell me a thing about Dorothy Nolan. While I was sitting there, the phone began jumping around on the hook.
Regan?
Yeah.
This is me. Where you been? I called your place 20 times, but I've called it once.
Well, I've been busy seeing a lawyer.
What do you need a lawyer for? You aren't married.
Somebody else needs one.
Who?
Dorothy Nolan, that blonde who worked up in Haynes' office. Wendetti's holding her.
Good. I want you to go down and see her.
What for?
We can still make something on this thing if we play it smart. When I talked to Haynes on the phone this afternoon, I told him I wanted a certified check.
So what?
So that means there's a check for $100 lying around his office somewhere, and it's made out to International.
Look, he's dead, remember?
Everybody dies. Don't worry about it.
We weren't even hired.
We had a verbal contract.
We had nothing.
That check's no good to anybody but us.
We didn't do anything for him.
Well, buy him some flowers. Now hop down to the pokey and see that dame and find out where that check is.
We can't do that.
I talked to Harry Presidio, and he'll give us a lead to get in. Hello? Hello? Regan, you're still there?
I was still there, but I wasn't listening to the lion. I was looking at a skinny little man with one leg.
Regan, you're still there?
Now, don't ask me how he made it inside my door. He was just there, propped up on a pair of crutches, swaying back and forth, watching me with a couple of sick gray eyes that were so full of water you'd think they were going to float right out of his head. All at once, he went down like a busted sugar sack. He'd been shot twice through the neck with a small caliber gun, a 25, 32, I don't know. I found a dozen razor blades in one pocket and 24 sets of shoelaces to go with them. There wasn't anything that told me his name, but there was a picture inside his shirt pocket. One of those things that you have taken in a penny arcade, in front of phony pasteboard props. Well, a man with one leg was looking out from between a pair of painted angel's wings, and the guy standing next to him, who was smiling up at the halo, was the same man that I'd seen that afternoon. An architect named Haynes. A man who needed a private detective. A man who walked out a glass door and then dropped dead. And the one printed word above that picture stuck out like a wart on an egg that said, Happy Land.
You are listening to the story of the man in the door. Tonight's adventure with Jeff Regan, Investigator. Here is a special and important message to every businessman listening. To every businessman, regardless of the size or the type of his business. Gentlemen, do you realize that the schools of this community help you every day that you're in business? That's right. For one thing, our schools teach the boys and girls of this community to cherish the human rights, the free enterprise on which our country and your business are founded. With each new generation graduated from our schools, the Army defending our way of life, and your business grows stronger. What's more, good teachers and well-equipped schools do a better job of developing our children's talents. The result? School graduates who become more skilled and more efficient employees. So remember, any time and taxes that you contribute to improving local schools are an investment in your own business future. Education is good business. Education can maintain our freedom. And freedom is everybody's job. And now, back to the story of the man in the door and Jeff Regan, Investigator.
Well, I left the little man with the one leg lying there. Wasn't much I could do for him. I wanted to wait before I called homicide. I took the picture I found in his pocket, and I drove to Happy Land. It turned out to be an open-air penny arcade on 5th and Main. Smelled like all the hot dogs in the world had been made right there. There were machines all over the place telling you how strong you were, how rich you'd be, and who you'd marry. All for a penny. I guess it wasn't much of a bargain. The only customer was a sailor trying his luck at the shooting gallery. Back in the corner, a tired-looking girl in light blue slacks and a dirty gray sweater was sitting on a stool by the hot dog counter staring at nothing.
Want some pennies?
Not right now, no.
Oh, just looking? Go ahead. When you figure out where you're going to spend your money, come back and I'll give you some change.
You got a picture gallery here?
Oh. Don't tell me you're a real big spender and want to have your picture taken.
Maybe. You got one?
Yeah, we got one.
Where is it?
In there. If you really want to get your picture taken, I'll climb off this stool and take you back. I want to tell you now, if you're just trying to be sociable, you can go and fly kite.
You run the picture concession?
I run the picture place and the hot dog place, and I sweep out in the morning. Oh, I wish I had better brains than to marry that slob and get myself stuck in a cheap dump like this.
All right. Do you remember taking this picture?
How would I know? I take a lot of pictures.
Well, come on, look at it.
All right. Yeah, I took it. That what sold you?
When?
What do you think I am? Can't remember what night it is every time a pair of drunks comes in and wants their pictures taken together.
Well, try to remember, will you?
You're a real wise guy, mister. You don't want no picture. You just want some talk. You're a cop.
Friend. I met the little guy in the picture once.
Dusty?
What was that?
I thought you said you met him once.
Well, we weren't introduced. I just met him. Who is he?
Dusty Rhodes. Works the circuit.
What circuit?
5th and Main, STEM. Business section.
What kind of business?
Dusty handled the razor blade and shoelace traffic. He hates pencils.
What did he do when he wasn't working?
What does anybody do? He went out and got loaded.
Go on.
And you don't know him very well for a friend. How am I going to know I'm not getting Dusty in trouble talking to you like this?
Nobody can get him in trouble anymore, lady.
What do you mean?
He was shot tonight.
Oh, no. Oh, poor little guy.
You know where he lived?
Seashore Hotel. The Seashore Hotel. Oh, gee, Miss, I'm sick. Oh, I'm real sick.
Brother, the seashore caters to many types of people. Good and bad, just out of the pokey. 2 bits a night for transients, $1.50 a week for solid citizens. And sign and register, it's a law.
I'm not looking for a room.
Then you're wasting my time, brother. My beer's getting warm.
Look, I'm a private investigator. My name's Regan.
I liked you before you said them 2 words, brother, but you have soured me. Private investigator means private eye, and it all means cop. And you are not welcome. Now blow.
I'm trying to find out something about a man named Dusty Rhodes.
We do not ask questions, and we do not give answers. Now blow.
I was told he lived here.
You find me tongueless, brother. Now blow.
Did you know him?
During the last 5 years, I have acquired 85 pounds and a very bad heart, or I'd have you in the alley right now.
Oh, yeah, sure you would. Here.
Abraham Lincoln was a very fine man, and he took a very fine picture. I seem to have found my tongue, brother. Will it be?
The key to his room for a starter, huh?
Disallowable and punishable by fine and imprisonment. Into the hall, turn the bent festo to the right.
Thanks. Well, I don't know what I expected to find there. Outside of more razor blades and more shoelaces was a little room full of dirty white curtains and a wire bed that sagged in the middle. I was standing there watching a neon sign advertise beer a block down the street when I thought I heard somebody behind me. Whoever it was had been drinking bad whiskey, but he was still pretty good. It landed a quarter of an inch above my right ear, and I piled up in a lamp, a chair, and a pitcher full of water.
5 berries gets you a look, brother, but doesn't get you a room. Besides, it's already taken and the bed's over there. Now, come on. Yeah, you didn't go to sleep, brother. You was knocked to sleep. I apologize. Why the games?
Who came in after me?
You're the only one.
You sure?
My name's Sam Preacher. Brother, I'm very sure.
Well, maybe he was waiting for me, huh?
I don't generally ask him, but the question is this. Why?
Oh, I don't know. Unless...
What's the matter? Something missing?
Just a picture.
You can get lots of pictures.
You didn't see anybody?
That makes the 3rd time, brother, and the answer's still negative.
Okay.
Then let's blow, buddy, huh?
Coroner's office.
Luke, this is Regan.
The lion's eye. What's with you, baby? When Daddy tells me you walked into one today.
Yeah, I did. You got him there?
Haynes Dudley? Sure. Want to come down and take a look? He's toe-tagged and salted down real pretty.
Yeah, I'll bet.
Them 32 slugs was just incidental. The guy had 4 weeks in the outside.
All right, give it to me.
Haynes Dudley was dying from malnutrition, alcoholism, and a couple other things with long names.
Give me one long name.
Diabetes. He didn't take good care of himself, funny, huh?
A misspent life.
Somebody's gonna take the gas chamber for nothing.
When Daddy know this?
Sure. And he was wearing a brand new suit, too. We'll sew up the holes. We'll bury him in it.
Well, you aren't finished yet, Luke.
Baby!
A guy with one leg dropped dead in my place a couple hours ago.
It's after 11.
I'm sorry, Luke.
They connected?
Yeah?
Murder?
Yeah.
Well, come down and see us anytime, Regan. We're open 24 hours a day.
Fell at the homicide office. They told me she'd been released about 10 o'clock. They said a lawyer named Henderson had put up the bail and handled the whole thing. They gave me an address on her, and I went out there. It was a bungalow court on Normandy, and it took her a long time to answer the door.
Oh, you?
Yeah, tell me how tall I am.
Well, I'd love to, but not right now.
They told me you'd been out since 10 o'clock. Maybe I should have come sooner.
Dale gives me the willies. I'm about to take a shower.
I was kind of hoping we could have a drink.
I did better than I thought with you.
I got a hold of a lawyer for you, didn't I?
Yes?
Well, doesn't that rake me an invitation to have a drink?
I said later. I'm really tired.
I said no.
Wait a minute. Well, if you're that thirsty, all right.
That's better.
And every day my boss gets killed, and I meet a private detective.
I need a drink. I was slugged tonight.
Throat?
Yeah, right here, see?
Oh, it looks nasty. Why didn't anyone do that to you?
Wanted a picture I had?
Whistler's mother?
Just a picture of a couple of drunks who are dead now.
Maybe whoever did it was a relative.
Guess again.
I don't like games.
But you play them all the time.
Don't we all? I know a psychiatrist who says we can't help ourselves.
You can.
I liked you when you walked into the office this afternoon, but I'm not so sure I like you now. Maybe you better go.
Expecting somebody, huh?
What are you doing? You let go of me. Let go
Oh,
of
no,
me.
baby. You got real nice eyes. I want to look at them.
Let go. He's crazy. You.
Hello, Dave. We didn't hear you knock. Did you bring your piano?
What's the idea?
He gave me.
Why don't you tell him to go away, baby? Anybody can tell we're busy.
Let it go, Regan.
You want to break us up?
Can't you see he's just trying to make you jealous and say things?
Come here, honey.
No. You don't have to do that.
I said let her go.
That the same 32 you killed a one-legged man with?
Over, Gumshoe.
Don't be a fool.
Stay right where you are, baby. You're first.
Listen to me, Dave.
I listened to you too long.
You don't need guessing. He doesn't have any proof of anything.
You can cry if you want to, baby. This is going to hurt.
She spun around and fell into a coffee table and then lay very quiet on the rug. Her eyes were open and she didn't say anything. She just lay there looking up at him. I couldn't tell where she'd been hit. He seemed to forget all about me because he walked over to her, knelt down beside her, put the gun right up against her head.
This is awful close range, baby, but I can't afford to miss.
Neither could I. Well, when Daddy and I stuck our heads together, and it all came out when we looked into a couple of things. You see, Dave Henderson was Dudley Haynes,
And he was wanted for attempted murder and embezzling and one thing or another back in Ohio. So he figured it'd be a good idea to bump himself off. Dorothy helped him with the idea. They both went down on Main Street and they picked up an old bum, dressed him up in a new suit, and shot him. I was supposed to walk in with Dorothy and she'd identify the body, and as far as anybody knew, Dudley Haynes would be dead. Dave didn't figure that she'd be taken down. She didn't figure that she'd get scared, and neither of them figured the man with one leg was a pal of the man that they'd shot. Well, it seems that they'd looked through a lot of files and they'd figured that a lot of murders go unsolved. Maybe they do. I don't know. Well, anyway, he sat down on that little bench up there in San Quentin last week. The one with that bucket of acid in the room. Oh, he held his breath as long as he could, but everybody has to breathe. He's buried up there with a lot of other guys that figured they could get away with murder. Dorothy? She wasn't hurt too bad. They had her in a wheelchair for the trial. She got 15 years as an accomplice. Some kind of a deal. State's evidence and all that. I don't think I'll wait for her. She wasn't that good.
Jack Webb is featured as Jeff Regan, with Wilms Herbert as Anthony J. Lyon. It's CBS at 9:30 next week for more hard-boiled action and mystery with Jeff Regan, Investigator. Written by E. Jack Newman and produced by Sterling Tracy. Dorothy Nolan was played by Betty Lou Gerson, and David Ellis was Dave Henderson. Lorene Tuttle, William Conrad, and Lou Krugman supported. It's perfectly natural and wholesome for some men who want to leave great wealth behind. There's a druggist in a small town in Pennsylvania who'll do that. The wealth he'll leave behind will make many lives easier and happier and finer down through the years. For he was the principal donor of an outdoor meeting place for religious services in a Boy Scout camp in the Poconos. Working with his neighbors in community activities, he saw the need of this improvement, helped to install it. That's the kind of wealth that you can bequeath to generations coming on as you enjoy the freedom of working with your neighbors for the betterment of your community. Freedom that can be anybody's pleasure is everybody's job. Music for this program is arranged by Dick Arant. Next week at 9:30, Jeff Regan, Investigator, brings you another thrill-packed half hour with his story of the House by the Sea. Bob Stevenson speaking. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
To hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to narcotics detail. A steady supply of high-grade narcotics is finding its way into your city. For 2 months, you've been trying to run down the source. The first real break finally comes. Your job? Check it out.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Thursday, October 8th. It was hot in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of narcotics detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Kearney. My name's Friday. It was 4:05 p.m. when I got to 318 West 1st Street, the first floor. Narcotics detail. Joe? Hi, Frank. You all threw up in court, eh?
Yeah, I went to the jury. I don't think he'll be out long.
Well, I hope they hook him this time. He's overdue.
I don't see how they can miss. You can't tell, though. Never know what a jury's going to do.
Yeah. What do you got here?
Felony car brought him in about a half hour ago. Pretty high.
What's he shooting?
H. Must have had a big pop. Can't talk to him.
Anything on him?
2 cats. Had him taped inside the collar of his shirt. Crime lab analyzed it. Same stuff we've been chasing. European. High grade.
He come up with anything?
Nothing. He talks a lot, but he didn't say anything. Why don't you take him on?
I'll give it a try.
Mr. Jennings, this is my partner, Sergeant Friday.
Well, how do you do, sir? Sure happy to know you, Sergeant. Have a chair.
Yeah, thank you. A cigarette?
Yeah, don't mind if I do.
Here, I'll give you a light.
Thank you. By the way, Sergeant, if you have any influence around here at all, I'd sure appreciate it if you'd tell this young fellow here to relax. He worries too much. Keeps telling me there's something wrong.
Wasn't there, Mr. Jennings?
Well, no, of course not. It's not that I don't enjoy the boy's company, but I've got an appointment. Very important one, 11 o'clock this morning.
That's so?
Yes, very important. I have to be there at 11 sharp.
You're a little late, aren't you? It's past 4 in the afternoon.
Oh, no, it couldn't be.
Clock on the wall right behind you.
Well, what do you know about that? That time sure flies. Well, they'll wait for me. Well, I better get a move on. Sure glad to have met you, Sergeant. Glad to meet you too, young
No, just a minute, Mr. Jennings. It's not that simple. You better sit down.
But I told you I have an appointment very important.
Sorry, it'll have to wait. Sit down.
All right.
How about it, Jennings? When did you have your last fix?
What do you mean, when did I have a fix?
You know what we mean. Your arm looks like a punch board.
Oh, the scars. Yes, of course. I take vitamin shots.
What's your doctor's name?
Dr. Young, Eldon Young, down on South Hoover.
You know his phone number, do you?
No, I don't. It wouldn't do any good to call him anyway.
No, why?
Well, he's not there. He's dead.
You sure of that?
Well, I ought to be. I went to his funeral.
When did he die?
Oh, I don't know. 2 or 3 months ago. Sure was a nice fellow. Fine doctor.
That's a sample, Joe. Been rattling off like that ever since they brought him in.
Not the usual run. He's sure not seedy looking, is he?
Look, Sergeant, I don't think I quite understand this. What's this all about?
Mr. Jennings, you're hooked and you're hooked bad. When did you have your last fix?
Well, to be honest with you, I don't quite remember. I'd like to make it clear, though, I'm not a bum. I'm not addicted to the stuff.
You're not?
Really, it's the truth. I can take it or leave it alone. I take an occasional shot. That's about the size of it.
Where do you get the stuff, Jennings?
I told you, my doctor.
No legitimate doctor gave you the stuff they found on you. They don't dispense heroin. Now, how about it?
How about what, Sergeant?
You going to tell us the truth? Jennings?
Well, frankly, Sergeant, no, I don't think I will. I'm not an informer.
It's up to you, mister. We're going to find out sooner or later.
I'm sorry, you're not going to find out from me. Now, look, let's not get into an argument, shall we? I don't have anything against you. Matter of fact, I like you. I'd like to get along with you.
We're not going to argue, Jennings. It'd be useless to tell you that we're trying to help you.
Are you married? Do you have a family?
Yes, sir.
Where do you live?
Sorry, I can't tell you. I'm not dragging them into this. That's why I don't carry any identification.
All right, Jennings. You want to get your hat? Let's go.
Go? Where?
Main jail. We're booking you in.
Why? What for?
Possession of narcotics.
But I told you I'm not an addict. You can't keep me in jail. I only use it occasionally.
Yeah, sure.
Is there anything wrong with that? Can't see any harm in that, can you? Are you listening?
I'll tell that in the morning, will you? 4:38 p.m. The felony car officers who picked up the suspect, Jennings, took him to the main jail where they booked him for violation of the H&S Code, Section 11,500. He'd been checked through R&I, but he had no previous criminal record. Knowing that he was bound to become ill, he was ordered into isolation, and the jailer instructed to notify the doctor in attendance if Jennings needed attention. 5:15 p.m. We went over to the crime lab and checked with Jay Allen, who'd analyzed the 2 capsules found taped to the inside of Jennings' shirt collar. He told us it was the same grade of high-test heroin which had been found in the possession of other addicts during the past 2 months. We knew it was of European origin. We knew it was finding its way into the city. We knew it was being made available to addicts. We picked up half a dozen pushers in the last few weeks with heroin of identical quality in their possession. But the basic source of supply still remained unknown. We were convinced that none of the pushers knew who or what the ultimate source was. The following morning, after Frank and I signed in, we went over to the main jail, signed out the suspect, Jennings, for interrogation, and he was brought to the interview room. His face was white and he was trembling. It was only a matter of time before he got worse, when the withdrawal pain set in.
Morning, Jennings.
I got to get out of here. Nobody told me to be like this when I got started on the stuff. I can't stand any more of this.
Bad?
I'm going to die. I wish I could die. Why can't they give me something?
I will talk to the doctor. It's the best we can offer. He'll do what he can for you.
Can you get him now?
I'd like to ask you a few questions first.
Then hurry, will you? I'm sick, awful sick.
Where do you get your stuff, Jennings? What's the man's name?
I don't know. It's the truth. I don't.
How do you get your junk?
A fellow named Eddie, bartender. I give him the money. He brings the stuff back.
How much you pay for it?
$6 a cap. I don't know what he pays. I pay him $6.
Do you use it?
Says he isn't. I don't know. I think he is. How about that, doctor? I can't take this.
Where do we contact Eddie?
Or on South Main near 4th. One with a big airplane on the sign.
What's his last name, you know? Eddie what?
I don't know.
What's he look like?
Tall. He's got blonde hair. Wears a big signet ring. Eddie, that's all I know. Good guy. He was trying to help me.
Any idea where he gets the junk?
I don't know, except one night I was with him.
Yeah?
Drove out to a little joint in Manchester, beer garden. He went in alone. When we got back downtown, he had the stuff. I don't know.
You know if he got it from a man who worked there, or do you think it could have been one of the customers?
I didn't see him. I didn't go in. I don't know.
You know anybody else who's in with this Eddie?
Anybody with $1? He'd do anything for money.
Hey, ever tell you where this junk's coming from? Who's bringing it in?
Oh, I asked him once. He got a little sore. He said, what do you care as long as you get yours? I don't know.
You cigarette, Jennings?
No. If I could just rest. If I could just let go. Can't you do anything for me? Why did they tell you it's going to be like this?
I'd like to have you help us. Now, as long as there are men like Eddie running loose, there's going to be men like you that he's going to feed on. How about it? Anything else you can tell us?
That's all I know. I got the stuff from Eddie. Talk to him. No more questions, huh?
One more, Jennings, about your family.
Don't want to talk about it.
Your wife called. She found out you're in jail.
No.
She's coming down to see you.
She can't. I don't want to see her. Tell her not to come.
We can't stop her.
Caused her enough trouble. 20 years of it. First the booze, now this.
How long you been on it, Jennings?
A year and a half. Been downhill all the way. 3 kids. I don't know what's going to happen. We'll lose our house. Lost my business already. All our friends. You don't know what it's like.
We got an idea.
No, you haven't. You got no conception. It's been hell. Nobody's gone through what I have. Lost what I have. Suffering. Year and a half of it. Really suffered. Nobody knew either. Nobody suffered the way I did. Nobody.
I can think of one.
What?
How about your wife? Jennings was returned to his cell. We contacted the jail doctor and briefed him on the suspect's condition. That afternoon, Frank and I drove to the bar on South Main Street near 4th, where we located the bartender, Eddie, whom Jennings had told us about. It was fairly apparent that he was under the influence of narcotics. We arrested him, took him back to the office, and began questioning him. A check with R&I showed that his true name was Eddie Hartsook, and that he'd had several prior arrests for possession of narcotics and 1 arrest on the ABC Act. Unlike Jennings, he broke almost immediately. He wouldn't confess to being a pusher, but he did admit that he was an addict and that he was supplied by a Jules Zimmerman, the owner of a German beer garden out on Manchester Avenue. He told us he'd met Zimmerman through a mutual friend who was now doing time in Folsom for robbery. He identified the friend as Pete Heimer. We checked with records and found it was true. Hartsook was booked in as a vag addict. Then we contacted Captain Larry O'Brien up at Folsom Penitentiary, who filled us in on Pete Heimer's background. After that, we checked R&I on the owner of the beer garden, Jules Zimmerman. We found he was registered as an ex-con from Minnesota, where he'd done time for burglary and grand theft. After a meeting with Captain Kearney, it was agreed that our first move was to get next to Zimmerman. I was to pose as a recent parolee from Folsom, a friend of Pete Heimer's. That night, I attempted to make my first contact with Zimmerman at the beer garden out on Manchester Avenue. Waiter? Yes, sir. Can I help you? Yeah, draft beer. Bring me a bag of peanuts, too. All right, sir. Just a minute. Is the boss around? Sir? Jules, the boss. Is he around? I'd like to see him.
I saw him around a minute ago.
Yeah, there he is. I'll tell him. Right. Yes, you want to see me? You Jules Zimmerman? That's right. Jack Bronson. I'm a friend of Pete Heimer's. He told me to look you up. I thought Pete was in Folsom. Yeah, he is. I was in there with him. His cellmate. I drew parole about a month ago.
Oh, I see. Mind if I sit down?
No, go ahead. Thanks, sir.
How's Pete making out? Doing all right?
Well, it's kind of rough. He's fighting time, doing it the hard way. He's not young anymore, you know.
Yeah, it's too bad. A nice fellow, Pete. Never did use his head, though. Here you are, sir. Draft beer, peanuts. Mr. Zimmerman? No, nothing.
Yes, sir.
Where are you from originally, Bronx, in L.A.?
No, Detroit.
What do you figure on doing now? Going back there?
No. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm still looking around. Can't go back to my racket, that's the thing.
That's so?
Yeah, I got my M.O. tag from here to Seattle.
What's that?
Safe. That's all I ever worked. That's what I thought.
Do you mind if I...
No, help yourself.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, you've had tough luck. How much time you do?
Do 10, 7 in, 3 out.
You working now?
Yeah, lumberyard.
What's that?
I said a lumberyard.
Must be easy. Your hands don't show any work.
No, of course not. I don't go into that rough stuff. I'm a clerk over there. It's an easy touch, not much dough, though.
What are your plans? Got anything in mind?
Oh, I don't know. Money. Pete told me if I ever got disgusted to look you up.
No, I don't know. There's not much doing around here right now.
I really tried to make it when I came out this time and play it straight.
You want some of these?
No, thanks. You go ahead.
Okay.
Tried to play it straight, stay on the street. It can't be done. I can't punch a clock. It drives me crazy.
Well, I wish I had something for you. Don't know this thing. It's rough, Bronson. I got an idea how you feel.
I guess you ought to know. Pete told me. Said you fell twice back east. Minneapolis, wasn't it?
He talks too much.
Not only to the right people. Nice setup you got here, Jules. You must sell a lot of beer, huh?
I get by.
Orchestra, big layout, first cabin.
Well, we got pretty good business going.
What's the pity, huh, Jules? I need a job. I got to turn a buck.
I wish I had something for you.
Now, look, I didn't spend all that time in the joint with Pete for nothing. I know the setup. Pete says you're a right guy and do business with you.
What do you mean?
Just that. I got contacts up by Fresno, Red Mountain. Good contacts. A lot of money up there. Pete says you handle quality stuff, European. The stuff they're pushing up around Fresno's nothing. Real lousy. If we play it straight, we can both score. We score good.
I don't think I'll follow you, Bronson.
I think you do. we get the right stuff up there at the right time, we can clean up. I know we can.
That's so.
I got a buddy who had a bum a ride to get up there 4 months ago. Now he's driving a Cadillac. Great business up there. It's fast and it's clean.
Hey, you want another beer?
I can't afford a stall in this, Jules. There's a lot of sucker money around, and I want a piece of it.
Well, maybe we can talk, Bronson. I don't know. It might work out something. I'd like to get to know you.
What's the pitch? I said I was a friend of Pete's, didn't I? Check with him, or don't you trust him?
I haven't heard from Pete lately. I like to. Can't be too careful, you know. It pays to check things out.
All right, go ahead and check. I just haven't got the time to throw away, that's all.
I'm so crazy about these peanuts. Well, I'll tell you. I might send the wife up to visit Pete this Sunday. She doesn't know him, but she can ask him about you. I hope you don't mind.
No, I don't mind. I just want to get going. If you haven't got any junk to push, put me next to somebody who has, huh? There's dough to be made, enough for both of us. I want to make it. You can't go wrong on the deal. You're smart enough to see that, aren't you?
You talk fast, Bronson.
Look, you're not doing me any favor. I'm doing you one. If you're not ready to move on the deal, just say so. If you are, okay.
Well, it's a big rush. Take your time. Let's talk about it.
You already have. How about it?
How about what?
You got this set up. Now, when do I get an answer?
When I get one from Pete.
11:30 p.m. I traded small talk with the narcotic suspect, Jules Zimmerman, until closing time. Then I left the beer garden, took a streetcar back to the room I'd rented in a small third-rate hotel down on South Broadway. The following morning, I got in touch with the office, and they, in turn, contacted Captain Larry O'Brien at Folsom Penitentiary and acquainted him with the facts of the case. He was told that Mrs. Zimmerman would arrive at the prison to visit Pete Heimer the following Sunday, and that she had never seen Heimer before in person. O'Brien made immediate arrangements to have one of the officers at the prison pose as Pete Heimer and visit with Mrs. Zimmerman. Heimer himself would know nothing about it. I spent the next few nights at the beer garden trading more small talk with the suspect, Jules Zimmerman. The conversation included fishing, the liquor business, gambling, sports, everything but narcotics. I couldn't tell how I was making out with him, whether he was sold on me or not. I waited in my hotel room the following Sunday afternoon until Frank Smith called me from the office. He told me Captain O'Brien at Folsom had just contacted them. He said Mrs. Zimmerman had visited the prison, that she talked with the guard posing as Pete Heimer, and that apparently everything had gone off well. 9:30 the following Monday night. I went back to the beer garden and met with Jules Zimmerman.
Yeah, not a bad crowd for a Monday night. Usually a lot slower than this.
Well, I'll let you worry about that, Jules. We've been through enough small talk. Now, how about it? What's the answer?
Gotta be in a hurry, don't you? Relax. It'll work out.
Not without a push, it won't. Now, how about it? You said you'd have an answer tonight.
I got one.
All right.
It's no.
What?
The idea's all right. I just don't like the way you figured it, that's all.
Yeah.
I don't take the risk of getting the stuff up to Fresno. If you buy here. After that, I don't care. How you get up north is your work.
Well, if that's the way you feel, I'm not going to fight you on it. Your wife checked with Pete, huh?
Yes, sir. Pete gave the go-ahead. You're everything you say you are. Understand you did a couple of big favors for Pete up there.
Well, I'd expect the same from anybody of mine.
If Pete told the wife you stood a beef for him. Could have talked, you kept your mouth shut. Only one more thing I want to know.
You asked enough, haven't you?
You ever chip you around with the junk?
Do I look like it? I wouldn't touch it for $1 million. I know the things I'm weak on. Each isn't one of them.
Good. I don't want anyone around to shoot the stuff. Seen it happen 100 times. Cops pull them in and you're gone. They all talk when they get sick. Let's back this. Come on back in the office.
All right.
You say you got these friends who want to buy. How much money can they raise?
Well, it depends. How much stuff can you come up with? I mean, good stuff.
Everything I handle's good. Here, go ahead.
All right.
How about it? How much they want?
I told you, it depends. How much can you deliver?
That's up to the big man. I don't know how much he's got left. I figure stores are pretty low.
Thought you were the big man.
Bum guess. I handle the stuff for him, that's all. I get my cut.
Well, he must be big. Who is he?
None of your business. You don't make the deals with him, you make them through me.
All right, with me. You say you figure he's pretty low on the supply, huh?
Mm-hmm.
When's he going to have enough to deal? I mean, a big buy.
Maybe this Saturday, I don't know.
When do you know?
Saturday when I see it. How much cash can your friends raise?
10,000, maybe more, depends.
You have the money by then?
Maybe. I'll have to have a couple of days, contact my friends. Probably they'll want more. How's the stuff come in?
Why?
So what do you think? Why? I want the right slant. Where's it coming from? I'm not going to get loaded down with Mexican stuff. We can help it.
Don't worry. European comes in by ship.
Yeah, well, it doesn't gel for me. How do they get it by customs?
They don't. I do. By the way, you doing anything Saturday?
Why?
I'll take a little run in my fishing boat. One of the boys is sick. I'll need another deckhand. What kind of sailor are you?
I can make out.
All right. Come along. We'll do a little fishing. You might learn something.
Yeah.
Smuggling's not as tough as it looks.
This guy cold calls me during dinner, trying to convince me that his wonderful money management advice will make me rich. I say, I already have someone for that. He says, oh, yeah? What does your guy do for you? I say, well, let's see. He helps plan my investments for long-term growth. He administers my 401k, and He's got people managing my trust real estate holdings and dealing with all the zoning and entitlement stuff that drives me crazy. He can get me $1 million line of credit to help pay my capital gains tax. And he can occasionally talk some financial sense into my brother-in-law. Well, there's this pause on the other end, and then he says, do you need any mutual funds?
At City National Bank, we realize you do things not everyone can do, and you need things not every bank can deliver. Talk to a trust and investment specialist at City National, the way up. Visit us at cnb.com, member FDIC. Some investments are not FDIC insured, have no bank guarantee, and may lose value.
I'm talking to myself again. This time I'm talking car insurance. I don't want to think about car insurance. I know, but I need to pick a car insurance company, and I heard about Wawanisa Insurance. Yeah, from my sister Jan. Wawanisa. I hear they're really good. Oh, the best. The Department of Insurance said they had no real complaints last year. 0 customer complaints. And Jan says they settle claims fast, fairly, and accurately. Great service. Just what I'm looking for. Wawanisa gets an A+ rating from AM Best and has been in business for over 100 years. Wow. Service and stability. Did I mention that Wawanisa has really low rates, too? Jan's been saving money with them for years. Gee, with the money I'll save with Wawanisa's low rates, I'll have more money to spend on the kids. Okay, I'm going with Wawanisa. With Wawanisa, I'll never have to think about car insurance again. Check Wawanisa's low rates today by calling 1-800-438-4300 and ask about their homeowner and condo insurance, too. Call 1-800-438-4300. Wawanisa Insurance. Excellent service at an excellent price.
KNX 1070 News Radio.
Tuesday, October 13th, 9 a.m. I called the office and briefed them on the results of my conversation with the suspect, Jules Zimmerman, the night before at the beer garden. Captain Kearney put my partner, Frank Smith, on the phone, and we set up a meeting for that afternoon. 2:30 p.m., I left my hotel room and took a streetcar downtown to Pershing Square. Excavating work for the new underground garage at the square was still going on. A temporary wooden fence circled the construction area. I went to the southeast corner of the square where a courtesy stand had been put up for the sidewalk superintendent. I stood around with a dozen other people watching the excavation. I waited. 2:45 p.m.
Joe, how's it going?
Hi, Frank. Not bad.
Hey, they're moving this thing right along, aren't they? Looks like they got that hole just about done.
I think you're going to have to go deeper than that. It's kind of hard to judge from up here. Looks deeper than it really is. Well, I had some pretty good luck last night.
That's what I hear. How's it shape up?
He told me the stuff's been coming in by ship. Zimmerman did. I think maybe he's telling the truth.
How do you think they're working?
I don't know. He wouldn't say. Might have a chance to find out this Saturday.
What's the pitch?
Well, Zimmerman's got a boat. He offered to take me out this Saturday. He mentioned they're expecting a shipment of the junk the same day. Could be he's got some connection on one of the ships coming in from overseas. He takes his boat out, meets the ship, and somehow they transfer the junk without attracting attention.
Any chance you can get the name of the connection, if there is one, I mean?
I'm going to try. Supposed to be a big man in the setup, too. Haven't got his name yet, either.
Somebody over Zimmerman?
Yeah. You handle the details for Saturday, will you? I'll keep you brief.
Okay.
Check on all the ships that are due into Wilmington Friday and Saturday, will you? I'll find out where Jules keeps his boat moored, and you can make arrangements to have the dock area covered, and notify customs, too, huh?
Right. Any kind of a deal set up with Zimmerman yet?
Yeah, I'll buy for $10,000. I'm supposed to be making it for friends up in Fresno. Tell the captain I'll need some dough.
How much?
Well, you can rake together 1,000 if you can. You know, small bills make it look big.
Right. I'm a little worried, Joe. Things seem to be rolling out too fast.
How do you mean?
Possible Zimmerman might be wise. Maybe he's just stringing you along. You're not going to be able to follow you out in the bay, not without tipping the whole thing.
Yeah, I know.
You're going to be strictly on your own on that boat. If Zimmerman's wise, he and the gang will be in a perfect spot. Maybe we could set it up to have a boat standing by if you need help, maybe half a mile away or so.
Yeah, I might scare him off, ruin the whole deal, Frank.
Yeah, that's the trouble, Joe. If they're wise and they get you out on that boat, they got you cold. They won't give odds on your chances.
Well, then we're even. I'm not giving any on theirs. For the rest of the week, I spent the days in my hotel room and my nights at the beer garden setting up the buy with Zimmerman. Thursday night in Zimmerman's office, we agreed on the final details for the buy. In the process, I succeeded in finding out the plan for the meet. At 2:30 Saturday morning, Zimmerman, 2 of his gang members, and myself would board his boat at a private dock in the San Pedro area and proceed 5 miles out from shore. How the actual transfer of the narcotics was supposed to be made, I still couldn't find out, but I did learn that Zimmerman's main contact on the deal was a Marcus Torricelli. He was supposed to be a steward aboard an inbound freighter. The next day, I relayed the information to the office and gave him a final briefing on the plans for the meet as Zimmerman outlined them to me. Saturday, 2:30 a.m. Zimmerman and I, along with the two members of the gang, boarded his boat at the private dock and proceeded out to sea. It was a fairly new boat, well appointed, a 38-foot motor cruiser. The two men kept busy above deck. Zimmerman and I played cards, talked, and drank beer down in the cabin. 5 a.m.
2 pair of queens up. You do better?
And you dealt it. 3 trays. Had enough?
$40 worth, plenty. You want another beer?
No, I got a headache. What time you got?
Later than I thought. It's 1 after 5. Let's go topside, give it. About time we start looking around anyway. So I better get up there and check our course.
All right. Sure nice boat you got, Jules. Just cut you back 20, huh?
Wouldn't believe it. I got it insured for $20,000, cost me $500.
You paid $500 for this?
And a society woman owned it. Husband left it to her. She got hooked.
Oh.
One of my best customers. Spent everything she had on the junk. I got this for $500 worth of age, high grade.
What's she do for stuff now?
She doesn't need it. She's dead. Really a nice boat. Never enjoyed anything more in my life. Just a minute.
What's the matter?
Yeah, must be it. Uh-huh.
What are you talking about?
Oh, that freighter. A couple of points off starboard.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh. George? Hey, George.
Yeah, Jules. Okay, I see it. Want a signal now?
No, hold on. Let's make sure. Hand me glasses there, will you?
Yes, yes. Here.
Thank you. Have a look here.
What's fit?
Just a minute. Yeah, Panamanian flag. That's it. Sereno. All right, George, let's try. Swing around.
Okay, Jules.
Give the rudder hard right. 3 complete turns. Keep astern of her.
Right. Neat setup, Jules. What happens now?
And another pair of glasses there. Watch for yourself.
All right. Delivery comes from the ship, huh? Big boy on board?
That's right. On board here.
You really had me fooled.
Let's keep it that way. To tell you the truth, I thought you had us figured.
No, I didn't. I'll swear with you. You got a good front, Jules. Keep it that way and you'll be hard to make.
I'm on the home stretch. You're not going to make me. 2 more trips and I'm getting out. Then I really go fishing.
There he is, Jules. Back on the stern. Got to dump it?
All right, keep an eye out. Hey, train your glasses on the stern of that freighter.
Yeah? What about it?
Just a minute. Now, you see it? Now?
Oh, a man coming out, huh? Looks like he's dumping some garbage over there.
That's right. Hey, don't watch the man, watch the garbage. It doesn't go through customs.
Pretty smart. That's your contact, huh?
Yeah, Marcus. Good boy. Hasn't failed yet. All right, George, move in, get the net. Ready for the pickup?
All ready, Jules. Still, I just can't get over it. It's sure smart. How do you keep the junk dry?
No problem. Just dump the package over along with the garbage. Waterproof wrapping. Keep your eye on it, that's all.
Yeah, I got it spotted.
All right, George, hand on the net.
Here you go.
Yeah. All right, coming alongside. Hold it steady. I got it. All right, let's go. George, let's go.
Okay.
All right, Bronson, down below.
Okay. Sure make it look easy.
All it takes is a little savvy. Now, let's have a look here.
Ping pong balls. What's the fix there?
You ever hear one sinking?
Oh, yeah, sure.
3, 4. Yeah, all here. Good delivery. Hey, Bronson, your share, 10 grand worth. How about the money?
How about a look?
Suit yourself. All right?
Okay, fine.
Well, about the money?
I don't know. I'll give you 1,000 now.
What do you mean 1,000? There's 10 grand here. That's what you wanted.
Take it easy, will you? I know what I was getting into out here. Could have been a heist. I couldn't bring all the dough along.
I want the money.
I told you. I'll give you 1,000 now. You'll get the rest when we get in.
Wait, there's something wrong here. I don't like this. I'll call George. We'll head out
Relax,
again.
will you, Jules? There's nothing wrong.
Don't try to calm me. I'm not taking a chance there's something wrong.
All right, hold it right there.
I'm calling George.
Call him loud first time. You won't get a second one.
Nice gun.
Fuzz.
Lousy.
Now, you go back and sit down. No, right where you are. Hands on the table.
Look, Bronson, we got time to talk this out. I got a big investment here. I got a lot to lose. All you have to lose is a pinch.
You keep your hands on the table, will you?
I'll make it right by you. You won't be sorry. I'm a wealthy man. How much you want?
Keep your voice down.
Believe me, I'll make it right to you. You said you liked the boat, didn't you? You can have it, huh? Everything with it, okay?
No deal, Jules. It doesn't smell any better than your delivery.
What?
Garbage.
The story you have just heard was true. The names were changed to protect the innocent. Jules
Zimmerman, his contact, Marcus Torricelli, and the other 2 members of the narcotics gang were filed on in the district attorney's office for violation of the State Health and Safety Code, Section 11,500, 1 count. They were found guilty and received sentences as prescribed by law. The violation carries a penalty of imprisonment in the state penitentiary for not less than 5 nor more than 10 years.
Ladies and gentlemen, defense of our country against aggression abroad and inflation at home depends on our ability to fill both our military and civilian requirements. All Americans must work together. Remember, the better we produce, the stronger we grow.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.
The story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, king size, extra mild and soothing, brings you Dragnet on both radio and television.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. An unidentified man is abducted from a downtown street. The scene is checked where the man was reported taken. Bloodstains are found on the sidewalk. The abductors escaped in a gray sedan. No one saw the license number. Your job? Get him. Compare Fatima with any other king-size cigarette.
Yes, compare Fatima with any other king-size cigarette.
1. Fatima's length filters the smoke 85 millimeters for your protection.
2. Fatima's length cools the smoke for your protection.
3. Fatima's length gives you those extra puffs, 21% longer than standard cigarette size.
Fatima gives you more for your money.
And in king-size Fatima, you get an extra mild and soothing smoke, plus the added protection of Fatima quality. Buy Fatima in the bright, sunny yellow pack.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Monday, March 18th. It was overcast in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of homicide detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Lorman. My name's Friday. It was 6:48 p.m. when we got to the corner of 11th and South Pierce Street, the 797 Club.
Sorry, no more service tonight. Closing up.
Your name, Leon Morley?
Yeah, I can't serve you any drinks, so closing up.
Police officers, Mr. Morley. I'd like to talk to you a minute if you don't mind.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought maybe you were after a drink.
We were just talking to the officers in the radio car up the street, the car that answered the call out here tonight. They told us you're one of the people who saw what happened.
Well, yeah, I guess I did. I saw part of it anyway. Lousy deal, kind of thing makes your ulcers pop. That's why I'm closing down early, going home.
We're following through in the investigation, Mr. Morley. I'd like to have you tell us everything you know about it, if you would, everything that you saw.
I told the cops in the radio car everything I know. It was about 6 o'clock, and I heard this big commotion out in the street. I didn't know what it was. Sounded like somebody was hurt. I went out and took a look. Marie in the beauty shop next door, she was outside rubbernecking, too. She saw as much as I did. You talked to her?
Yes, sir, we have. She wasn't too clear on some of the details. Maybe you can straighten it out for us.
I'm glad to if I can. What do you want to know?
You mind telling us in your own words just exactly how it happened? I mean, how you saw it?
Well, there's not an awful lot to it. I was working behind the bar here, and it was around 6 o'clock, like I say, maybe a couple of minutes after. I was just fixing up a round of drinks for some fellows when I heard this noise outside.
Yeah.
Didn't know what it was at first. It sounded like somebody screaming like they were hurt.
You said you heard this commotion outside the bar about 6 o'clock.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I didn't go out right then. I finished mixing the round of drinks. First, I thought the racket was just a couple of early drunks, but it kept on. A man screaming. It got louder, and I decided to take a look.
Mm-hmm.
I went out and looked down the street a couple of doors, down toward the corner.
Which corner is that, Mr. Morley?
Oh, the nearest one, down to the left. Here, I'll show you.
All right, fine.
I didn't know what was happening. Terrible sound. Man screaming at the top of his lungs.
You recognize who the man was?
No, I didn't. Never saw him before. Didn't get too good a look at him anyway. It was getting kind of dark. Here, let me show you. Over here by the window.
Fine.
I see it was right down there, just next to that mailbox.
Mm-hmm.
These two guys had a hold of the man who was screaming. They were trying to drag him into a car, a gray sedan. The man was trying to fight him off.
Can you describe any of these three men for us?
No, I couldn't be sure about it. Like I say, it was getting kind of dark. Well, you can see for yourself they were about 75 or 100 feet away. Mm-hmm. This man they were trying to drag into the car, he kept screaming, "Leave me alone, you can have the money. Leave me alone, you can have my car." Looked like he was hurt to me, blood on his clothes.
Didn't anybody try to help him?
Well, you know how this neighborhood is. When there's trouble, they all cut out. They don't want to get involved. It happened pretty fast anyway. These two guys got this man in the back seat of the car, and the big guy got in the back seat with him. The smaller guy got in the front seat, and they took off.
Now, which way did they go, Mr. Morley?
Straight down the street there. It turned right at that corner.
Mm-hmm. Did you happen to see the license number?
No, I thought of it, though. They didn't turn the car lights on and went by pretty fast, too. I couldn't get a good look at it.
Was it a California plate, do you know?
Oh, yeah, I noticed that much. That's about all, though.
What kind of a car was it?
Like I told you, a gray sedan, 4-door. I couldn't tell the make. Fairly new car.
Well, did you notice anything outstanding about the car? Anything at all?
Well, I don't know. What do you mean outstanding?
Well, special markings of any kind. Anything unusual. Maybe some of the accessories. Spotlight? Anything like that?
No, nothing I noticed. The rear bumper was bent out, I think. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure of it.
Rear bumper?
Yeah. I saw it when they drove off. They drove right past the place here.
Well, how about the men, sir? Can you describe them at all?
No. One was pretty tall and thin. The other one was smaller. About the same build on the thin side. They sure must have worked that guy over. He was all bent over. Looked like he was holding his stomach. Stains all down the front of his suit. On the sidewalk, too. I guess you saw that.
Yes, sir, we did. Now, you're sure that you've never seen any of these men before? Nothing familiar about them at all?
No, sir, not to me. I think if I saw him before, I'd know it. Oh, just a minute. It's probably the wife. Excuse me. I'll be right back.
Yeah, sure. What do you think, Joe?
Well, it doesn't look too good. Stains on the sidewalk down there. If it was just a robbery, why'd they take the guy with them?
Got me. Possibly might have recognized him.
Well, maybe you got some, but I hope you're wrong. If he can make the hood, there's a good chance they're not going to turn the man loose alive.
Sergeant.
Yeah.
It's your office on the phone. I want to talk to either one of you.
Well, I'll get it, Joe.
All right, thanks, Frank.
Phone straight back, Sergeant. Enter the bar.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Look, Sergeant, I got to have something to quiet my nerves. How about you? Want a drink?
No, thanks. Besides the woman in that beauty shop next door, Mr. Morley, did you notice anyone else around who saw what went on?
No, as far as I know, Marie and I were the only ones. Just like I told you, when there's any trouble around this neighborhood, they get off the street quick.
You can't think of anything else that might give us a break on this? Anything at all now?
Wish I could. I think I told you just about everything. Sure feel lousy.
Joe.
Yeah.
I was talking to Harry.
Yeah.
1A1 found the car, gray sedan.
Where'd they find it?
3rd and Bixel. It was empty. Key still in it.
You sure it's the right car?
Bloodstains in the back seat.
7:18 p.m. Frank and I left the 797 Club, got in the car, and drove down to 3rd and Bixel, where the abandoned gray sedan had been located. It matched the same general description of the abductor's car, a 4-door gray sedan, late model, with a damaged rear bumper. Dean Bergman from Leighton French dusted the car and succeeded in raising a half a dozen fingerprints, which he took back to the office for possible identification. The crime lab crew went over the car for additional physical evidence. The stains found on the back seat were identified as having been made by human blood. The white slip attached to the steering post showed the car was registered to a Kenneth L. Gorman at a Canal Street address. Before Frank and I left the scene, we got a report that approximately 20 minutes prior to the time the gray sedan had been located, another car had been stolen. It was a maroon, late model Club Coupe, license 7-Tom 7972. It had been taken in the same neighborhood, less than 2 blocks from where the gray sedan was abandoned. A broadcast and an APB was gotten out on it immediately. 8:05 p.m. After checking by the office, Frank and I drove down to check on the home address of the registered owner of the gray sedan, Kenneth L. Gorman. It was a white wood-frame cottage at the upper end of Canal Street. The woman who answered the door identified herself as Mrs. Elsie Gorman, a small middle-aged woman, blue eyes, partially graying hair.
No, I'm sorry, officers. My husband isn't home right now.
Where is he, Mrs. Gorman, do you know?
Well, he went downtown to see a friend of his, business appointment. Is there anything I can help you with?
Are you expecting your husband home pretty soon, ma'am?
Yes, I am. Matter of fact, he should have been home long before this. I don't know what's keeping him. Told me he was going downtown to collect some money a friend of his owed him. Said he'd be right back. I don't know what could be keeping him.
When do you leave the house, ma'am?
About 2:30, 3 o'clock this afternoon. It's almost 8:30 now. It could be he stopped to have a beer with his friends. He usually phones, though, if he's going to be late. I don't understand these men sometimes.
You and your husband own a car, Mrs. Gorman?
Yes, we do. My husband has it right now. Why?
What kind of a car is it, ma'am?
A 49 Chevy sedan.
Gray color, 4-door?
Yes.
License number 7T7972?
Well, yes, I think that's it. Why? What's the matter? Something happened?
Nothing to get worried about, Mrs. Gorman. We located the car in the downtown area, parked on a side street. Keys were still in it. Thought we'd check on it.
Where was it parked?
Near 3rd and Bixel.
Well, that can't be right. This man my husband was going to see has his store on Alameda. It's on Alameda between 9th and 10th. No reason for Kenneth to drive the car way down on 3rd Street.
Possible he might have had another business appointment down there, ma'am. Maybe something you didn't mention to you.
Well, I don't know. I suppose it is possible. You'd think he'd call, though. He usually does when he's going to be out late like this.
What about this man your husband was going to see, Miss Gorman? You happen to know who he is?
Yes, Fred Bernard. He's in the sheet metal business. Has his shop on South Alameda. He owed my husband $300. My husband went down this afternoon to collect it.
He a friend of your husband's, is he?
Oh, yes, they're good friends. Fred and my husband have done business for years.
There wasn't any ill feeling between them about this debt?
No, of course not. It was just a bill for some materials. Why do you ask that?
Just routine questions, ma'am. Can you think of anyone at all who might have a quarrel with your husband? Somebody who has a grudge against him, maybe?
No. Why are you asking questions like that? Is something wrong? Something you're not telling me about?
No, ma'am, it's just a routine check, Miss Gorman. Nothing to worry about. I want to make sure everything's all right, that's all.
The way you talk, it isn't all right. It's far from right. It's never gone this long without calling me. There must be something wrong.
No use getting yourself all worked up, ma'am. You admit your husband might have had another appointment after he left Bernard.
By the way, have you checked with Mr. Bernard yet, ma'am?
No, to tell you the truth, I haven't. I don't usually like to call my husband when he's out on business. I don't like to bother him. This is different, though. I think I'll call Fred Bernard right now.
It's a good idea. Do you mind if we wait, ma'am?
No, not at all. It'll only take me a minute. Excuse me.
Yes, ma'am.
What do you think?
Well, I don't know. Doesn't look too good, does it?
Car's abandoned, stains in the back seat. Name's late in getting home. It's all there.
Could be anything, couldn't it?
Doesn't look good.
Sergeant?
Yes, ma'am.
I just talked to Fred Bernard. He said my husband's been there and left.
What time did he leave Bernard?
About 3:15, 3:30. Fred Bernard paid my husband the $300 he owed him, and my husband left. Fred told me my husband asked him if he wouldn't have a glass of beer with him, but Fred said no, he was busy. So my husband said all right, he was going to have a beer at home. Told Fred he was going right home. That was at 3:15 this afternoon.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, there must be something wrong, I know it. It just isn't like my husband. He wouldn't leave the car like that. If he was late, at least he'd call me. Oh, would you excuse me again? I've had the dinner on the stove and spoiled away to nothing. I want to turn it off.
Yes, ma'am, go right ahead. I hope it works out all right. Seems like a nice woman.
Yes, she does.
Sure doesn't figure, does it? He's had plenty of time to get home. No reason why he shouldn't be here by this time.
Oh, I can think of two.
Yeah?
An empty car and $300. We continued interviewing the wife of the missing man, Kenneth Gorman, and she told us that occasionally he did some drinking at neighborhood bars. She also told us that when her husband drank quite a bit in public places, he was over-friendly and he liked to brag and flash money. Mrs. Gorman got on the phone, contacted all their friends and relatives who happened to be home, but none of them had seen or heard from Mr. Gorman that day. Before Frank and I left, Mrs. Gorman gave us a complete description of her husband, the clothing he was wearing, and also a recent photograph of him. We called Fred Bernard, the friend of the missing man, the last known person to see him, and told him that we'd like to talk to him. He told us that he was working late, getting out a rush order, and that we could find him in his shop. 9:05 p.m. We located Bernard at his shop on South Alameda.
Won't take long, will it? An awful rush tonight.
Won't take long, sir. Did Mr. Gorman give you any idea where he was going when he left here this afternoon?
No, just like I told his wife on the phone. I paid him the money I owed him. He asked me if I wanted a beer, took a rain check on it, and he left. Went right out that door there.
You seem worried about anything, Mr. Gorman?
No, not that I could see. Seemed all right to me.
Had he been drinking, do you know?
No, couldn't say. If he was, I couldn't smell it on him.
Is there anything unusual about him at all? Anything out of the ordinary?
No, the same old Ken. Pretty good mood when I paid him. $300 cash. He's all dressed up. I guess you might call that unusual.
How do you mean, unusual?
Well, Ken's like me. Working man, not much of a dresser. Usually find him in working clothes. I think it's the second time I ever saw him in a suit. A new one, too. Looks nice on him.
He didn't give you any indication at all where he might be going, did he?
No, he just collected his money and went out. I thought maybe he was going home. What did Miss Gorman tell you? Did you have any idea where he is?
No, sir. She told us he came down here to collect some money. She expected him right home. We're not trying to be nosy, Mr. Bernard, but how do Gorman and his wife get along? They're pretty happy together?
Yes, I guess you might say that. Get along as well as you could expect them to.
What do you mean by that?
Nothing. Ken's he's a fellow who likes his nightlife. Wife's just the opposite, quiet type. Almost left him once. Guess they're getting along pretty good now, though.
Why'd she almost leave him? Would you happen to know?
Well, she found him out with a girlfriend. Matter of fact, she caught him at a terrible row. Didn't understand any of it. The girlfriend wasn't much at all. Real lush.
You know the girl's name?
Yeah, I met her twice. Name's Elaine something. She works at a cafe 3 blocks from here. Real lush. She sure took me.
You know if Gorman's been seeing her lately?
Well, he says he hasn't been. I don't know. I never can tell when he's drinking, though. Didn't his wife mention the girl at all? No, I guess she wouldn't. It's been a terrible thing for her when she found out. Terrible.
How long ago was all this, Mr. Bernard? I mean, this affair Gorman had with this girl.
Oh, 6 weeks, maybe 2 months ago. Just about that. I tell you, it was the queerest thing I ever saw. Ken has a nice, quiet wife of his at home, and they get along fine together, never fought, never quarreled. Then he picks up with his girly Lane. Sure different.
How's that?
Real mean girl. Two of them fought all the time.
9:40 p.m. We left Fred Bernard at his shop, drove to the restaurant where Gorman's girlfriend reportedly was working as a waitress, and we checked with the manager. He told us a girl by the name of Elaine Summerall had been employed there, but that she'd been fired for drinking on the job. He also told us that he had reason to suspect that Elaine Summerall was not the girl's true name. We showed the cafe manager a picture of Mr. Gorman, and he identified it. He said Gorman had been in that afternoon inquiring about the Summerall girl. Gorman had asked for the girl's forwarding address, but the manager told us that he'd thrown it away. We left our card with him and asked him to contact us immediately in the event the girl returned. 10:18 p.m. We drove back to the city hall and checked in at the office. We ran the name and description of the Summerall girl through R&I, and they told us they had a Summerall girl in the files who answered the description. Elaine Summerall, alias Elaine O'Donnell, alias Elaine Shellman. There were wants out on her for forgery, 3 counts, and grand theft merchandise. We signed out of the office, went across the street to the Federal Cafe, and had a sandwich and a cup of coffee.
It wouldn't look so rough if it wasn't for the danger found in the backseat of that car.
It's hard to get around. It points to more than robbery, doesn't it?
M.O. sure strikes me pretty funny, pulling the man off the street like that.
Must be either hard up or crazy, huh?
Federal Cafe. Just a minute. Friday?
Yeah.
Phone.
Right, thank you. I'll be right back, Frank. Yeah, Friday talking. Yeah, go ahead. Where? How long ago? Yeah, I see, huh? There wasn't, huh? Yeah, we'll roll on it right now. Tell them we're on our way in, will you? Yeah, right. Thanks, Ben. Bye. Yeah? Chandler. They just found the maroon coupe, the one stolen in the neighborhood where Gorman's was dropped.
Where'd they find it?
Picked it off going up through Lancaster, sheriff's deputies.
Did it look good on our job?
Well, there were 2 men in the car. One of them had a knife, bloodstains on their clothes all over the inside of the car.
How's it figure?
It doesn't. Not a scratch on either one of them.
You are listening to Dragnet, authentic stories of your police force in action.
Friends, because of its quality, its extra mildness, its better flavor and aroma, more smokers coast to coast are switching to king-size Fatimas every day. Yes, more smokers coast to coast are finding that in Fatima, the difference is quality. Now, here's the practical way to prove Fatima quality yourself.
Compare Fatima with any other king-size cigarette.
1. Fatima's length filters the smoke 85 millimeters for your protection.
2. Fatima's length cools the smoke for your protection.
3. Fatima's length gives you those extra puffs, 21% longer than standard cigarette size.
Fatima gives you more for your money.
And in king-size Fatima, you get an extra mild and soothing smoke, plus the added protection of Fatima quality.
Remember, more and more of your friends are switching to king-size Fatimas.
Compare them yourself. King-size Fatima, extra mild and soothing, plus the added protection of Fatima quality. Look for the bright, sunny yellow pack. Buy king-size Fatima.
Monday, March 18th, 10:40 p.m. After we received the report that the stolen maroon coupe, along with the 2 suspects, had been recovered north of the city in the town of Lancaster, Frank and I stopped by the record bureau and checked to see if there was a make on either one of the suspects. The first one, Paul Mike, white male American, 32 years, 5'11", 150 pounds, brown hair, brown eyes. He had a long felony record, including burglary and robbery. He'd served sentences in both San Quentin and Folsom, and there was a warrant on him for violation of parole. The second suspect, Floyd Compton, white male American, 34 years, 5'8", 135 pounds, black hair, brown eyes. His record included arrests on suspicion of burglary, 4 grand theft merchandise, and 3 drunk arrests. He was a petty thief known to us as a shoplifter. He'd never served time in a penitentiary. 10:55 p.m. Frank and I, with identifying photographs of the 2 suspects, left the city and drove north. We checked in at the Lancaster Sheriff's Office substation. Captain Walker Hannon briefed us on the details of the arrest, and then he showed us back to the cell block where the two suspects were being held. He told us neither of the men had been questioned because the officers there weren't acquainted with the facts of the case. He also informed us both men had been separated from the time of their apprehension. Captain Hannon had Paul Mike taken from his cell, and he was brought to the captain's office where we started to question him. It went slow.
I don't think I understand you, Sergeant. What's all the excitement about?
You can answer that better than we can, Mike.
Answer what? What do you want to know?
The car, Mike, the blood stains.
What about them?
A little unusual, wouldn't you say?
I don't know anything about any blood stains. If they're in the car, I don't know how they got there. It isn't my car.
Yeah, we know that. What about the stains in your clothes?
Well, I don't know. They were sitting in the car there. Maybe the stains rubbed off on us. You got a cigarette?
Only one thing wrong with that story, Mike. The stains are on the wrong side of you.
All right, so I had a fight. Got hit in the nose. What's that, a law against us?
I got a hunch, Mike.
Yeah?
You're lying. Where'd you get that car?
I told you where I got it. Me and Carlton were bumming a ride on San Fernando Road. This spook came along in the maroon coupe and gave us a ride. A couple of miles this side of Lancaster, he stopped the car and got out. Said he'd be right back. Walked right out into the desert.
That right?
Yeah. Waited for him to come back. Waited a long time. Honked the horn, yelled for him. We finally gave it up. Matter of fact, Carlton and me got a little scared. Thought maybe the car was stolen. I didn't want to get caught in a hot car. I'm an ex-con. I couldn't stand the heat. The truth, I'm squaring with you.
What about the money, Mike?
Huh?
The money. They booked you in with $133 in your pocket.
Oh, yeah. I got lucky in a crap game last night. I was pulling out.
How about the pocket knife? Blood stains on it? You win that in the crap game, too?
No, matter of fact, it was in the car. Found it right there on the seat.
Big coincidence, Mike. Somebody leaves you a car, blood stains on the inside, stains on you and your partner, pocket knife, stains on that, too. You're on parole, leaving town without notice, driving a car you're not supposed to be driving, pocket full of money you got no way of accounting for. Face it, Mike.
What do you mean?
Face it, you're dead. Flag on your card now. Parole officer wants you. Now, how about the truth?
What do you mean the truth? I've told it to
All right,
you.
now, come on. Let's save time for all of us, Mike. You've been around long enough. You've graduated. You know we're not going to buy that line.
What line? How can I explain things to you? You won't believe me. I told you nothing but the truth since I walked into this room. You won't believe me. You got a cigarette?
How do you account for the blood in your shirt?
I told you I had a fight. Guy hit me in the nose. Happened right down there in L.A. You can check it.
Where did it happen?
Bar. Downtown.
There's a lot of bars downtown.
Well, place on South Pierce. I go there sometimes.
What's the name of it?
797 Club. Ask anybody in there.
You said it happened tonight?
Yeah, about 8 o'clock. Just before we cut out. Guy hit me right on the nose. Real rough one. You got a cigarette?
What time did you say you had that fight?
About 8 o'clock.
You sure of that?
Sure, why?
You're not doing too well, Mike.
Now what's the matter?
We were at the 797 Club tonight. We talked to the owner.
So what?
We were there at 6:35. He locked the place up and went home at 6:45. He was sick.
797 Club?
Yeah, that's right. Now, where were you at the time of the robbery?
I want an attorney. I'm not saying anything else, trying to frame me. Take me back to my cell.
Any way you want it, Mike. Let's go.
Hopefully you tell them the truth and they don't believe you. How about that cigarette?
Captain, would you have the jailer return this one and bring in something? How about that? He couldn't tell the truth if it helped him. Hope we do better with his partner.
Well, we're going to have to. We know we're on the right track. The big question is, what have they done with Gorman?
Big guess. 1,000 places they could have dumped him between here and L.A.
Oh, I hate to make book on his chances. Everything points to a killing, doesn't it?
Mike looks like the one who could handle it.
One income. And over here. Sit down.
Yeah.
My name's Friday. This is Smith, my partner.
Hi.
Branched out of your class, haven't you, Carlton? Running in the big time here?
What do you mean? We haven't done anything.
Robbery, kidnapping, grand theft auto. You're moving pretty fast.
Didn't Mike tell you? This guy gave us a ride. He stopped the car and walked away. We didn't steal the car. Thought the guy was lost. We drove in here to get help.
Let's take it from the top. Where'd you spend the day? Who were you with?
Mike. He stayed overnight with me. Both slept till about 2 o'clock, got something to eat, and went to his show. Got out about 5.
What'd you do then?
Went to this bar downtown. Didn't Mike tell you?
You were with him, weren't you?
Sure, I was with him. He'll tell you that.
He did. And you didn't do anything wrong, did you?
No.
Then what are you worrying about? Let's forget Mike now. You level with us, will you?
You're getting it straight. I didn't do anything.
Mike says he can't stand another beef. Can't afford it. He's too up right now.
I know that.
Well, we believe him, Compton. Mike's done too much time. He couldn't make another trip easy. We think he's telling us the truth.
Well, so am I. What are you getting at anyway?
All right, now let's get on the bandwagon while you can. We don't need you, Compton. If you talk or not, it doesn't make any difference.
Just a minute. Can I talk to Mike?
All right, we'll give it a try. Frank, you want to ask him?
Yeah, okay. Be right back.
Now, let's pick up where we left off. The blood stains on your clothes, stains inside the car. Where'd they come from?
Mike told you, didn't he?
Yeah, you tell us.
What for? Why can't I wait till Mike gets here?
All right, what about the money? You want to explain about that?
Nothing to explain. I saved it.
What kind of work do you do?
Odd jobs around town, any place I can find it.
You say you got up at 2, you had something to eat, you went to a show, and you got out about 5 o'clock. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
When did you go to the 797 Club?
Right after the show, about 5 o'clock.
How long did you stay there?
About an hour, till about 6 o'clock.
Anything unusual happen while you were in the bar?
What do you mean?
Anything unusual, anything out of the ordinary?
Oh, Mike and me sat there, talked, had some drinks. Pretty dead place. Decided to take off for Reno. Mike's got a friend up there, good friend. Thought maybe he'd get the both of us jobs.
Carlton?
Yeah? Where's Mike?
I told him you wanted to talk to him. He said he didn't want to see you. He took him out to feed him. Told me to tell you he'd see you in court.
What do you mean, see me in court?
I think you got it, Carlton. We told you we didn't need you. Come on, we're tired. We're going to lock you up.
What'd he say? What'd he tell you?
Now, look, fella, we're tired. You wanted to go the hard way. All right, you'll get the answers in court.
Well, what did he say? What'd he tell you?
Come on, let's go. You should have known better. Mike's not going to ride your beef for you.
He was in it all the way. It's his idea and it's his beef, not mine. I argued with him. I know he shouldn't have gone along crazy.
Yeah, come on.
It's the truth. The whole thing's Mike's. It's his knife, too. Met the guy in some bar, and he was real high, talking about some dame he was looking for, a girlfriend. Guy bought us a couple of drinks, had a big roll of bills. Mike framed the whole thing.
Yeah?
Yeah, he wanted to roll the guy. He left, got in the guy's car, and drove with him way toward town. Mike was driving. I didn't know where he was heading for. All of a sudden, the guy says he wants another drink. Mike didn't want to stop, but he was making a racket. Finally pulled up by the 797 club. We got out. Then the guy changes his mind. He wants to go home. Mike tried to talk to him, but he wouldn't listen. Mike pulled a knife and cut him. Then he slugged the guy, and the two of us pushed him in the car and took off.
Where'd you go from there?
We cruised around till we found another car, maroon coupe. We crowded that one, dumped the gray sedan, and took off up this way.
That's right.
Look, it's the truth. I'll even tell you about the guy. What happened to him? You got flashlights in your car?
The man's still alive?
I don't know. He was when we left him.
1:45 a.m. The Lancaster Sheriff's Substation contacted the local emergency ambulance, and they were instructed to follow our car. Along with the suspect, Floyd Compton, Frank and I got in the car and headed south, following his directions. After several tries at locating the spot where Mike and Compton supposedly left their victim, we finally found where they'd parked their car on the side of the road. We got out, and Compton led us back across a stretch of sand to a thick clump of sagebrush about 300 yards off the highway. The victim, Kenneth Gorman, was lying face down. His hands and feet were tied together. It was fairly evident that he'd lost a good deal of blood and that he was in a state of severe shock. He was placed on a stretcher and placed in the ambulance.
All right, Compton, that's it. Let's go.
Be real tough. Sure glad he ain't dead.
Yeah, sure. Come on.
Where are we going now?
Back to the sheriff's office. Want to take your statement.
Okay with me. There's one thing I want. One more thing.
Yeah?
That lousy Mike. I want to be there. I want to see him.
How's that?
Trying to load this thing on me. I want to see his face when you tell him. Can't wait to see it.
Yeah, neither can we.
The story you have just heard was true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On July 12th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 84, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
And now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. Friends, once again, I'd like to ask you to compare Fatima with the king-size cigarette you're now smoking. When you do, I'm convinced that you'll agree that king-size Fatimas do give you more for your money. An extra mild and soothing smoke, plus the added protection of Fatima quality. Remember, Fatima in the bright sunny yellow pack. And remember, in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Paul Mike and his accomplice, Floyd Compton, were filed on for violation of Section 209 of the Penal Code, kidnapping for the purpose of robbery, and Section 211 of the Penal Code, robbery in the first degree. They were also filed on for one count of grand theft auto. They were tried and convicted and received sentences as prescribed by law. Kidnapping for the purpose of robbery, where bodily harm is inflicted, is punishable by the death sentence or life imprisonment without possibility of parole. Robbery is punishable by imprisonment from 5 years to life. Grand theft auto is punishable by a prison term of not less than 1 nor more than 10 years. The victim, Kenneth Gorman, finally recovered after more than 3 months in the hospital.
Ladies and gentlemen, next week, Dragnet presents a trilogy. 3 documented case histories of vital importance to all of us. This trio of authentic stories is both tragic and terrifying. Please try to hear Dragnet next week when we present our trilogy.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Brasher. Heard tonight were Vic Perrin, Virginia Gregg, Sam Edwards. Script by Jim Moser. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
Ladies and gentlemen, You may now read Dragnet every day on the comic page of your favorite newspaper. Please consult your local daily paper. King Size Fatima has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Adventure is yours tonight with Counter Spy on NBC.